Hello, everyone. Sunday Elijah here. Good evening, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Here we are. I hope you are fast enough to make it on time and be here with us. Who is the first person? Wow, boss. Boss and Shego now are competing to be the first ones here, and baby, and yet today, wow, you are the fastest. Popola from Seattle, Akim Latifu from Norway, blessings. Damilare from Agege, Lagos, Martinez from California, Victor Ogundipe from London, Sheyi Yitayo, morning, Akinpelu, Akinyemi, Fleur Karin, blessings. Pastor Irene from Manchester, Bamishaye, Victor, how are you doing? I hope they sent you I hope they sent your friends the book on my biography, Olorunwa. Ladi Shoronka from California, Cecile, blessing, Nkiru is here, Mayowa, Kwam is here, Emmanuel is here from Sweden. Fawa is here from Australia, Fumi from the UK, Favor is here, Lola Shorunka as well is here from California, Kenneth Amobi is here, yes, Victor, you say they got it, okay, good. Paul is here, Solomon Poe is here, Ade Wale Adebayo is here, Unity is here, yeah. Okay, it's for me. It's reminding me that we need to share. Shao Smith is here. Let's go ahead and share the message, everyone. Oluoni is here from Australia. Please, will you go ahead and share and press the share link before we begin? Aline is here from Montreal. Olutoyin is here from Cyprus. Martinez has shared the link. Please, let's go ahead and go back to our timeline and share the link for this program because it's going to be interesting and some people might be blessed just by being able to come on time to watch it. So will you please go ahead and share before we begin? Okay, Nelson Carroll from Kenya is here, Stephen is here, Mayowa Adebanjo is here from Port Harcourt, Nigeria, Paul Sheng from Abidjan is here, Betty Muller is here, beautiful. Solomon said, thanks for your tips on transformation. Okay. Well, Obina is here. Emmanuel Emenka said he has shared it. David is here with us. Tele Gale is here. Let's go ahead and try to begin this morning's teaching. Clayton from New Zealand is here. Morning. Well, this every day I've been talking to you. Good morning from Switzerland, from Aleye De Josh. Okay, I've been talking every day on wisdom tips for daily life. Wisdom tips for daily life, and today I have another wisdom tip for you, which might help you for your daily life. And this tip is called, never take a decision based on one-sided information. Never take a decision based on one-sided information. Never take a decision or never come to a conclusion based on one-sided information, or never judge a matter based on one-sided information, or never look at life based on one-sided information. Never look at life based on one-sided information. Most of the evil that we have going on in our world today is primarily based on the fact that people look at the world, judge the world just from their own eye, just from the way they see the world, from their own spectacle, from their own specs, from their own, worldview. The danger of one worldview is enormous. When you begin to look at life, when you begin to look at people, just based on one-sided information, it creates a lot of danger. It brings a lot of danger into it. For example, when I was growing up in Africa, let me start by saying this. Have you ever heard about Africans that perish in the Mediterranean Ocean trying to travel from Africa to Europe? Of course, you've heard about that. Many people have heard about, these ship and boats capsizing in the attempt of Africans, hundreds of Africans, tens of Africans, sometimes thousands of Africans, trying to travel from Africa, just trying to escape without visa, without license, without permission. So they go and take a primitively done boat and try to ride on that boat across the ocean, across the Mediterranean Ocean to Europe. And then most of them die. There have been a lot of tragic stories. Do you know why? Because I was just like them. When I was growing up in Africa, we had only one-sided information about Europe. But in the case of Europe, is more of overemphasizing the good life in Europe. But they were not telling us the other side of the story in Europe, that not everything in Europe is as rosy as it is presented. So to an average African man and to an average young man growing up in poverty-ridden country in Africa, they look towards Europe, they look at Europe as if it's a continent whereby where everything happens, where you just go and wake up in the morning and you have everything you need, where you just go down the street and pick as much money as you want, where you could just go and get a job, where you could just go and be able to afford yourself everything you want. They did not hear the other side of the story, that most countries of Europe, that up to 10 or 15% in some cases, even in some cases up to 20% of their population are without jobs. And that, in Europe, there are poor people as well. That in Europe, there are people who are homeless. That in Europe, there are alcoholics. That in Europe, there are people that are also poor. In fact, they don't even get to hear that there are some people in Africa that live better than in Europe. And we don't always hear that in the mass media. We don't always hear that in the CNNs of this world, that there are people in Africa who might be better off than people in Europe. And, for an African mindset, that is like mind-blowing. It cannot be. How can there be people in Africa who are living better than in Europe? You might think that maybe only Dangote or, only a few millionaires do. No, but some of us are actually happier in Africa than in Europe. So that is the problem that one-sided story creates, one-sided information creates. So the information that is being disseminated around among our young people in Africa is that Europe is a land of roses. It's like a promised land of old. It's like the land of Canaan of old, where honey and milk is flowing freely, and where everybody can just go and have their own share. But they have their own problems in Europe as well. If you hear the politicians in Brussels argue about how to fix Europe, you would think that their problems are even more severe than in Africa. If you hear the politicians in Downing Street in London, argue about the problems in England, you would think that, wow, they have so many problems that, they might never be able to come out of it. So, but when it is only one side story, only one side of the story, or one side of information that is sold to a people, to a whole continent, then the whole continent begin to live in despair. And even when they don't try to travel and on boats to Europe through Libya or Morocco, and they don't get to kill themselves that way, even the ones that are back in Africa, they are sitting down there thinking they are unfortunate, they are regretting about their lives, they are thinking they are living a bad life, they are living a depressed life, and they are thinking that, wow, they are so unfortunate that they are born Africans, or they are living in Africa, or that they are not in Europe. So even though they are not making attempts to run away, but at the slightest opportunity, they will be so willing to do that. They will be willing to run and leave their own country. But the other side of the story is that even people who are not rich in Africa, many of them are better off than in Europe. In the sense that if a lot of people who are not rich in Africa, or even the very poor in Africa, they are not in depression. That is another thing. We should also, people, we don't hear about the press and the mass media talk about too much. Because when you talk about Europe, 40% of Europe, in the average, 40% of the whole of Europe is living in depression on a daily basis. In some countries of Europe, like the Scandinavian countries, their depression is up to 60% of the population suffering from one kind of depression or the other. Germany, France, England, all of them. Why are they drinking so much? Depression is eating up the heart of Europe. Living in Europe or having material things doesn't mean to be happy with life and doesn't mean to be satisfied. And that is another side of life that we should talk about, that we don't hear people talk about. That Africans are some of the most happy people in the world. They are some of the happiest people in the world. Not just because they have everything going on for them. No, on the opposite. They don't have too many things going on for them. They don't have things going on for them in the physical, but they have the environment of community, of being surrounded with positive relatives, distant relatives that carry the burden of each other, that they have the environment of Mary, of positive, optimism, they have an environment of celebrating people, celebrating each other, of trying to acknowledge people, of being grateful, of faith. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer a situation where you have your fridge, you have your furniture, you have your apartment, but you come to that apartment and you cannot sleep at night, or you come to that house and then you are weeping at night, or you come to that house and you have your fridge full of food and you cannot even eat it? But in Africa, where people don't have all these things, they have somehow been able to find their unity with their neighbors. They've been able to find the unity with their creator. They've been able to find unity with the nature, that they have been able to have more joy than people who are in Europe. So when we just say Africa is the dark continent and we are so unfortunate and we are, such a backward people, and that is just one side of the story, my dear. That yes, if you are talking about material wealth and all that, that could be true. But if you are also talking about inner satisfaction, a lot of them are much more satisfied. You can have, in America, in Europe, all over, people can have all these things, but they still need some liters of alcohol to make themselves happy. Why do you need to do that? In our country, when I tell people in this country that, in Nigeria, that I've only seen two drunkards in all my life, that I've only seen two people who are drunkards in all the 19. I only lived there for 19 years though, but in that 19 years I only knew two drunkards. And that people don't drink, that we don't have drunkards in the street every day like they have here. We have other problems. You have poverty. You have people in the street because they are poor, but you don't have people in the street because they don't have anything to do. They're just drinking, and they just want, they have money, but they're just drinking themselves crazy. And you know what people tell me here in Europe? They say, we want to come and see such a country. How can we want to have a look at such a country where people don't drink, where people are not so depressed? Well, that is one thing. That's another news. We should be talking about the continent of Africa. Okay, let me talk about Mexico, because I'm talking about Africa now as if this poverty and one-sided story is only about Africa. No, one-sided story is ruining our world. Not just Africans are trying to escape their continent and run to Europe. Have you heard of Mexicans as well trying to cross the border? I mean, thanks to Mr. Trump, he has made that popular that, he's going to build a wall across the United States of America. You know why? So that Mexicans and other Hispanics and people from Latin American countries will not be able to run from their continent and to cross over to America. You know why people are trying to cross over? It's because they are thinking America is the land of promise. America is the land where there's honey and milk flowing, and that you don't need to struggle so much, and then you can go there and make a big life and make a big living for yourself. But on the other hand, what we don't get to hear about Mexico is that Mexico is not one of the poorest countries in the world. Mexico is actually in one of the top 10 countries in the world. Right now, Mexico is, I think, number 10 or number 8 in the list of the richest countries in the world. It's one of the biggest countries by GDP. But when you hear how people talk about Mexico in America, and when you hear about the way they talk about Mexicans in America, you will think as if Mexico is just another Africa, as if nothing is good. Nothing good is happening there. Yes, people in America make more money than in Mexico, but things are not as bad in Mexico. But Mexicans cannot even believe this. If I was in Mexico myself, when I went to Mexico, I was so shocked. I was saying, so this country is as good as this, and people are treating it as if it is a totally run-down country where nothing works, that every Mexican wants to run away. I went to Mexico. I said, if I were living in this country, I would not even bother to go to America. I would rather live in Mexico than go to America. But because the people in Mexico, the young man of Mexico, they only hear one side of the story. They hear one-sided information about how life is in America. They don't know the reality of their own life as well. They only hear one-sided information about their country. They don't hear the good part of their country. So because of that, they want to run away from their countries and run back to to America to make a living. They don't know that they could actually make a better living in Mexico, in their own country, than trying to run away. So what am I trying to say? That there is a danger when we just sell and we try to look at the world from one side of the equation. When there is a danger in one-sided information. Never you look at the world based on one-sided information. Never you judge people based on one-sided information. I remember this is so painful when I was growing up in Nigeria, and this everywhere. I was a short guy. Now people don't think I'm so short for some reason. Maybe because I was still growing up. I was not as tall, but I was pretty short. I was one of the shortest in my high school. And this is where you have kids from 12 to 17. And out of all even when I was in class 4 or 3 in the middle school, I was still one of the shortest. Maybe I was only taller than one little boy who was 10 or so, or 12. So, and they were calling me all kinds of names. And that name calling, just because the way they see me, they were calling me tuba, like a root of a tree, like thick. So, and because of that name calling, I thought I was good for nothing. I thought, I was despised and I was laughed at. I was ridiculed. And because of one-sided information, I never knew there was anything good in me. I never knew that I had brain. I never knew that I had something, that anything good was in me. I thought I was this ridiculed guy, the despised guy, that I will just be the outcast of the society, that I will always be the one that the whole world laughs at. And maybe at worst, at best I will be a manager, a messenger for some people, or I will be a gatekeeper or a gardener or a cleaner somewhere, because when people identify other people and we see other people only by one side of the story, when we only see one side of their lives, when we base our assessment of them only on one side information, we destroy people's lives. We ruin lives. We ruin our world. We make our world a worse place just by looking at people and judging them based on one-sided information. Let me tell you another way that I suffered from being one-sided. When I was in high school as well, and even from primary school, you will not believe this. If I tell you this story now, you will think this is not true, but it's true. It happened to me. It's the story of my life. Till, almost throughout my school years, I will always have the teachers do this to me. They will make their knuckles like this, their hands, they make it this way, and they say, "You are so dull, you are so dull, you are senseless, you don't have brain. What kind of Adelaja are you?
because I come from an Adelaja family, and Adelajas are known to be brilliant and they are well educated, and that. So he will say, "You are so dull. You are so dull. We've never seen an Adelaja that is dull like you before." But you see, and there is a reason for it. Can you believe it that I was really so dull? At least that's what I was told. That's what I thought. I was so dull that I couldn't read. I was in school, primary school. I went to primary school since I was 6. But between that 6 and 10, I couldn't read. I mean, everybody started reading a few weeks after they went to school, but I couldn't just read. They taught me alphabets, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. I knew all that. I was saying that A, B, C, D, E, F. But when it comes to putting words together, I couldn't read. I couldn't just read. Let's say, for example, it was later on. I was only able to read after the age of 10. So I was in primary 4 and I couldn't read. They were promoting me one way or the other, and I couldn't read anything. I couldn't read in English. I couldn't read in Yoruba. I couldn't read in any language. I couldn't read. I could read alphabets. They made me to, because they had a song, they made me to cram that to memorize it. But I couldn't just get things together. It was just here, while I was here, maybe a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, that I discovered why I couldn't read. And this story will fascinate you, because my teachers and the people that surrounded me that time that were saying I was so dull, they were judging me by one-sided information, and they were trying to teach me by one-sided information. Let me tell you what, today now, it is now a common fact and a known fact that people learn in different ways. So some people learn by what they see, some people learn by hearing, some people learn, by other way. But my own way of learning, I didn't know that. I only discovered that recently, is through critical thinking. And it's another way of learning. I've not even heard people talk about it. But I only discovered this about myself recently, that I learn only through critical thinking. I think not, I don't have conventional thinking. My mind does not work in a conventional way. Even if you have followed my ministry, if you have followed the way I've done my ministry and I've been doing my ministry, I'm just different. But these teachers couldn't believe that a kid could be different from the way they were reasoning. Okay, for example, if I see something written, let's say a word like house, H-O-U-S-E, a house, H-O-U-S-E. When they put a house, the picture of a house, for me to pronounce, and they say I should read ABC. I remember the ABC, and when they put the word house and say pronounce it house, I will not pronounce, because in my own case, I didn't like to just pronounce because the teacher said pronounce. I could pronounce, but I want to see why is it pronounced as house. I see H. Why did you say house? I can't say A, house. I can't say house there. I see H, I see O, I can't see A. And you say house, why is house? I can't see H here. I see H here, I see O, I can't see A. Where is it A? House. Where is it A? Where is it house? Why? But I say, but at the end of this is E. And you have told me it is E. So it's supposed to be I'll see E. So, I was thinking a different way. So when they say it is house, you just have to pronounce it that way. I have a conflict in my mind, because you had said A was A and E was E. So I thought I should pronounce it the way you taught me, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I thought, so when they say Papa, they would write the word Papa, for example, father, Papa. They say pronounce it Papa. I say, okay, I pronounce Papa, but I don't see the relationship between the alphabet you taught me and this Papa I'm pronouncing, because the Papa you taught, what you are telling me to pronounce as Papa was not it was not pronounced as A, because A was said, they called A, they didn't pronounce it as A, they call it A. So if you say it is A and you are now saying it is A, which one should I believe? In my critical mind, in my critical thinking, I'm saying it should be pay.
If it is A, let's pronounce it as A. You told me it is A, so why should you call it A now? Why should you change the rule on me and call it A when it is A? So if it is A, B, C, this letter is A, and you are now pronouncing it as A. I can't understand. So, but I couldn't argue with them, and I couldn't explain the way I'm explaining now. But the only one-sided information, information they gave me and they gave out about me, the only one-sided way they looked at me is a dullard. You are a dullard. You are so dull. They would hit me in the head, and I couldn't pronounce. I couldn't read. I couldn't. They say, why can't you read? You are 7 years old. You are 6 years old. You are 8 years old. You are 10 years old. You are 9 years old. You can't read. Why can't you read? They kept on beating the hell out of me. But each time I tried to read what they're saying, I am remembering the alphabet they taught me, because they had been teaching me alphabet since I was 4, and I remember the alphabet A, B, C. So I wanted to read the way I was taught. I was said to read the way it was being written. It was taught to me as alphabet. But but let me tell you how that ended. So what that did to me is that once I eventually learned the rules of how to read, I became so meticulous in my reading that I learned to pronounce and to read every single word and pronounce, every single word, to try to learn out. Even up to now, I'm still learning how to pronounce. So I try to read every single word. What that did to me is, later on in life, when I began to read, I so much enjoy reading that I couldn't read in a hurry, because, it takes me, I struggle to read, to read like they taught me to read. So I took time to read, and look how God used that for good. Because of my nature to try to critically look at it, critically, analyze every word. At the end of the day, each time I read a book, I've read that book. If I read a book that is 200 pages or 300 pages, I will tell you on what page what word is written. I will tell you what point they made in what page, what is written in what with all the point, all the summary of the book, including what is written on what page. Even not only just what is written on one page, I will tell you what is written on what paragraph or what page. So I became so meticulous because I couldn't read all this while, and reading was a challenge to me. So I began. So because of my way of thinking, they didn't know this was an advantage. My teachers never told me that, okay, this guy is not good in reading like this or even reading fast, but when he reads, he can tell you the whole book. So that made me to be one of the best students. So now it's still affecting my life. People are thinking, when people look at Nigeria, they see problems and everything. But I take my time to have critical thinking, and I come up with such solution that nobody is thinking about. Or like even this thing I'm talking about right now, if you listen to my messages or my lectures or my teachings or my preachings, you will see that they are normal. They are not the usual things you hear from everybody every day. You know the reason why? Everybody is just repeating the same thing. I lost interest. In fact, I don't even know who to listen to anymore. I don't even know who to learn from, especially pastors and things, because everybody is teaching the same thing. They are talking, they are repeating themselves. Everybody is copying each other, or whatever they are saying is just what everybody already knows. And when people read the Bible, everybody is telling the same old story. But when I read the Bible, because of that, my critical, analytical thinking and way of studying, I see new things all the time. I see what other people are not talking about. And that's why all my messages are always like original. And people are always saying, wow, what kind of Bible do you read? Wow, what kind of information you have? But when I was a child and when I was in school, people were doing this to me. They were beating me up crazy. My family was beating me up because they were seeing and looking at me, assessing me on one-sided information. We shouldn't just say this is the only way to learn. We shouldn't just say if you cannot read. There are people who cannot read or write, who are illiterate up to now, and that doesn't mean they are not smart. That doesn't mean they are not intelligent. That doesn't mean that is all, that they are forgotten, that they are outcasts, or that they are failures. The fact that you cannot read or write. In fact, I will tell you a story. I read it in there. I even published it on my blog, and I published it on my Facebook. I read it in news, and even CNN covered it. There is a lady, they call her Nike, in Nigeria, who is now a lecturer at Harvard, and she didn't go to school. She's a lecturer in Harvard. She didn't learn to read and write early in life, and she does. But you know what happened? She didn't go to school. She didn't learn to read and write, but she knows how to work with her hand. She knows how to paint material. So there is a coloring of clothing that we have in Yoruba land that is called, I think, Idere or something. Idare or something. I forgot. I've left Africa for 30 years. I think Idare, they call it. When they make some ornament to come on white clothes, and so she's so good in that, and making ornaments in clothing. And as a result, she is now a lecturer because of that skill. She's teaching that the skill that she's got to people in Harvard. I mean, she didn't go to formal school, but doesn't mean she's not intelligent. So what I'm saying is that when we look at illiterate today, we say, oh, Africa is illiterate. But that doesn't mean they are outcasts. That doesn't mean that they are not intelligent. That doesn't mean that they are bad. Oh, somebody just wrote that thing the lady does is called Adire. Yes, Adire, I think so. So, how do we look at illiterates? Do you look at illiterates back in your village and say, oh, these people are illiterate, and you write them off, and you just, put a cross on them, you just write them off. But that is a mistake. Because it's just like me when I was growing up in that school. Who could ever tell that all the bright students, they were saying, who could read, who could do everything right, the way the teachers they wanted it, that they are nobody now, and I'm the one that has become somebody in life. Because sometimes when you are when you are different from others, it doesn't mean it's bad. When you are looking at the world differently, it doesn't necessarily mean bad. It could be your advantage. That might be your strength. In my own situation, the fact that I couldn't read and follow rules like every other person, it became my advantage. So maybe you are having children like that you are suffering, that you are struggling with, that don't quite fall in place like all other children, or they don't quite behave like you have expected. Maybe they have their own unique way of thinking, of their own perception of life, and you think, oh, what is this problem with my child? Well, maybe it's their uniqueness, and maybe that uniqueness is what God is going to use to glorify them. In my own case, my own unique way of thinking, of looking at the world, what became my own unique way that God used to glorify me, and those things are helping me now because they help me to be meticulous. They help me to pay attention to details. They help me to be able to come up with ingenuity. Everything about me is about ingenuity, and that is just because of that thing that my teachers could not identify, and they were saying that I was a dullard. And so, how do you look at poor people? I think as Africans, and if you are an African that is watching me, you must have suffered from that. When I come out, even here in Ukraine, when I go everywhere, the first thing people look at me as a black person, and the attitude is, we need to help him. Either I'm a refugee, or I'm poor, or we are just Africans that need help. But when people begin to discover that I'm not just another regular African that needs help, that this African is the one that is teaching them, that is teaching their people, it blows their mind. That this is African that is leading the largest crowd of white Caucasian people in the world. I'm leading 99% of white Caucasians in the world, and the only African that is living like that, only Barack Obama is another person that is leading a large number of white Caucasian people, and people can't believe it. How is that possible? Well, because don't think that because I'm black that I'm not good for anything. Don't think that because I'm African that nothing good can come out of Africa. No, that is the danger. That is the problem when we look at the world and judge people by one-sided information. So, but that is on a larger scale. But all of us sometimes do that. We judge other people on one-sided information, and on one-sided information, on one-sided worldview. Even look at the way we are talking about Muslims. A lot of people today, they cannot even look at Muslims. A lot of people today, they cannot look at Arab people because we are thinking, oh, Arabs are terrorists. Arabs are killers. Arabs are ISIS. Arabs are Al-Qaeda.
Muslims are this. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. What you think about it. What about if you have been born in a Muslim family? What about if you had been born in Syria, or you have been born in Iraq or Iran? You wouldn't have any option. You would just be who your parents have taught you to be. You would think that is the way the whole world is seeing the world. You see, so we shouldn't be in a hurry to put a mark on people and say, you know, you are just this and that. So if we see some Muslims, we shouldn't just think they are all terrorists. So that there's injustice when we begin to look at the world one-sided. When we begin to judge people just, you know, on one-sided information. You know, my own family, for example, because of Africa, I'm coming from Africa. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much about Africa today. I know there are people here who are not Africans, but sorry for that. It's just you know, this is just one pain that I've carried all my life. Yeah, because I grew up in a poor family. And even me, growing up in that poor family, I bought into the story, into the idea of one-sided information. Because in my country, the one-sided information that is ruling that whole country, and not just that country, I think any country in the world, is that if you are poor, you are nobody. If you are poor, you are finished. If you lose your value if you are poor. If you are poor, you are not as valuable. If you are poor, you are not respected. If you are poor, that is, if you don't have material, but if you don't have money, they say you are poor. But that is a wrong definition of poverty. Because the person that is poor is not the person that doesn't have money. There are a lot of people that don't have money that are even poorer than people who, there are a lot of people that have money, that have millions, that are even poorer than those who don't have money at all. You could have money but be poor in your mind. You could have money but be poor in your character. You could have money but be poor in your morals. You could have money but be poor in your values. But the real poverty is the poverty of the mind. The real poverty is the poverty of character. Real poverty is the poverty of values. And that is what people are not talking about. We don't hear that part of the other side of the information. We only hear one-sided information. That if your family is poor, if you are poor, finish. It's just finished with you. You are nobody. You cannot become anything. You cannot amount to anything. So because I was growing up in a poor village and in a poor family, I thought nothing good will ever come out of me. Nothing good will ever come out of my family. I thought that I'm written off. I'm not good enough. I cannot compete. I cannot, talk to people. I cannot go to respected places because everybody was chasing me away from where I went to. Because I was poor. And the whole world is being ruined because we treat other people this way. We look down at people, we think because they are poor, they are not good for anything. And we make them outcasts. But I that was poor, look at me today. I had other things in me. I didn't know that. You could be poor but still be talented. You could be poor but still be gifted by God. So we should be looking at other things. We should be looking at the other side of the story. There is always a two side to a story. There is always a second side to a coin. There is no matter how poor somebody is, there is something good about them. There is no matter how disadvantaged people are, there is another side to their life. There is always the second side to a medal. There is always a second side to a coin. So now I'm looking at Africa and everybody say, I don't want to go back there because people are poor. They don't want to go back there because people are poor. And I'm beginning to look at the poor people and look at their skills. Like that Nike lady that had a skill, had a gift, had a talent in her, and now she's teaching in Harvard. That also, in our country we have three major tribes. We have the Yorubas, we have the Igbos, we have the Hausas. We have there is this particular group of people, the second largest, I think they're the third largest group of people in our country, the Igbos, they are called. They are so gifted, and many of them, especially the traders, the Igbo traders, they are renowned, they are everywhere. People say there is no way you go without finding Igbo traders. If you go to any country and you don't find Igbo traders, you don't find Igbos there, it means you have to run away from that country. It means there are no living being there. Igbos are so enterprising. They are so good. But most of them are not educated. Most of them didn't go to university. Most of them don't have a higher education. In fact, some of them might not even have finished their secondary school. Or most of them just go for training or trade training or apprenticeship. And they didn't go to school. But even though they didn't go to school, let me tell you something about the Igbos. The Igbos, I mean, not just the Igbos, the elite, but I'm talking about the traders. They control 70% of the commerce in our country, Nigeria. I mean, we're a country of 170 million people, and these guys who are majorly, not too highly educated, they might not have university education, but they are good in something. Why should you look at them because they didn't go to university? Why should you look at them because they are traders? Look at their skills. Look at their ambition. These traders are some of the most ambitious people you will ever meet in the world. And they are some of the most tenacious people you ever meet in the world. I mean, they are some of the most energetic, industrious people you ever meet in the world. So why should you look at these people because they are ordinary traders? Don't call them ordinary. Look at their skills. Look at their ingenuity. Look at their commerce. Look at their ambition. Look at their, their industry. Look at their industriousness. Look at how passionate they are. Look at how zealous they are. You need to respect them for that. You need to value them for that. You need to, give them credit for that. But what we normally do, common trader, disgrace, they're ashamed. Well, that is the problem we have when we look at the world one-sided. When, don't look at your world. Don't look at the world by one side, based on one-sided information is the title of this message. Don't judge cases. Don't judge people based on one-sided information. Don't just look at the appearance of people and judge them. That's why I have trained myself. I work on myself every day not to be like that anymore, because I've suffered from it. I've suffered from it. And my people suffer from it all the time. Black people suffer from this all the time. Africans suffer from this all the time. Even in my own church here, where I have white people, 99% white people, they respect me because I'm Pastor Sunday. But to my other black people, they don't. It's not always the same attitude. For example, I have churches in America, and these churches are white churches, but most of them are white that are coming from the former Soviet Union. One day, I arrived in Seattle, Washington, and these are businessmen, and they are members of my church, but it's a white church, 100% white church. And they came to meet me and took me from the airport, and they were taking me from DC and then to the DC airport and taking me to the church. And so they were telling me stories of what was happening in America. And you know what they were telling me? They were telling me that, Pastor Sunday, you are so different. Oh, thank God for you. You are such a gift to us. But blacks in America, black people in America, they are scums. I said, why? They said, what we have a saying among ourselves. These white people are saying, we have a saying among ourselves that, abortion should only be allowed in America for black women, because they are giving back to scums. They are giving back to criminals, and they are giving back to gangsters, and things like that. This is, the conversation they have among themselves, but they think they are having an open conversation with me and joking about it, and they forget that while they are talking about black people, even though they are black people in America, and they are praising me, they are thinking that, I am the hero, I am there. But while they are saying that the abortion should only be allowed for black women because they are giving birth to criminals, they don't know they are talking to me. They are offending me. They are destroying my people. So then they go around and say, because all the crime in America is being committed by black people. That is the way we look at black people, and that America should be returned. You know why? I'm sorry, but I think most of the people who are supporting Trump, maybe not most of them, but some people who are supporting Donald Trump in America, a lot of white people who are supporting Donald Trump, I'm sorry to say, Many of them think that America must be returned back to America, to the way America used to be. And the way they are thinking is because black people and other people should be put back in their place and America should be white. And this is not just in America. This is the same thing in England. You know, they don't give the best job to the black people. And because that's the way they treat us, because one-sided information. I'm not a racist, you know. I'm living among white people. My drivers are white. My cooks are white. My, you know, house helps are white. Everybody around me is white. My pastors are white. My assistants are white. So I'm not being racist here, you know. I'm just saying this is something we must change. It's not just about black or white or something, but about women as well. You know, a lot of people look down at women. I celebrate women. I celebrate women. You know, you ask anybody in my church, you ask anybody that knows me, they will tell you that Pastor Sunday celebrates women. And I know pastors who tell me that women cannot be senior pastors. Can you believe that? That women cannot be senior pastors? Why? Because she has breast or because she has womb? Is that what makes her worse? Is her brain inferior to our brain? Why can a woman be president of countries, a woman be prime minister, a woman can be an engineer, a woman can be a doctor, but she cannot be a senior pastor? Hey, are you kidding me? What? How do you understand that? A woman cannot be pastor. And then some pastors, I'm talking about pastors everywhere. I'm talking about pastors in Africa, pastors in Europe, pastors in America. Then some of my pastor friends says, when do you believe? Because in my church, I said, I am not going to tolerate that rubbish. And in our ministry here, in the Embassy of God, we have 50% of all our pastors are men, and 50% of all our pastors are women. 50% are senior pastors, senior pastors are men, and 50% are women senior pastors. My council, my apostolic council is 50% men, 50% women. I will not buy into that rubbish that women cannot be allowed to be pastors, women cannot be allowed to be senior pastors. You joking? I have a wife. She's smarter than myself. I have 2 children, 2 girls. They are smarter than me. And you say they cannot be anything because they are women? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry for that, but I'm sorry, but one-sided information. We shouldn't be looking at our world one-sided. We shouldn't look at the world one-sided. And that's why in the family as well, I believe that family union is not a union where everybody says, the husband is the head of the family. Yes, I agree. That's what the Bible says. But what does it mean to be the head of the family? The Bible says for you to be the head, you must be the tail. For you to be first, you must be last. Whoever wants to be the head must be the least. So in my own understanding of a husband or a man being the head of the family means that I must be the servant of the family. I must be the one that is serving the family. If I'm want to be the head, I must be the servant of all. That's what the Bible says. If I want to be the first, I must be the last. So being the head doesn't mean I'm ruling it over my wife, or I'm running it, or I'm lording it over the lady. No, if I'm the wife, it means I take all the responsibility upon myself. It means I take a bag, I take a coat, I open the door for her. I view her as a weaker vessel. I see myself as a stronger man, and I do everything for her. I make sure that I make the money for her. I take all responsibility of myself. I don't need to make her to go and do all the hard work because I'm the head. I serve my family. I serve my children. I serve my wife. I serve my partner. That is what it means to be the head. Not to oppress her, not to make her worse or inferior. No, that's not the way I look at it. That's not the way I understand it today. Well, but the point I'm trying to make is that we shouldn't be using one-sided information to judge people. On many of us too, we use sin to be the one-sided information we use to judge people. I was a part of this because I bought into what everybody was doing. I used to call people gay. I used to call people homosexuals before too. But today, because of what I know, I don't call people gay anymore. I don't refer to people as homosexuals anymore. You know why?
because that is also one-sided information. Why is it one-sided? Because it is wrong to call a whole human being and give them an identity based on their sexuality. How can I just give him, someone who is a man, because he has a problem with his sexuality, is living in sin, and is a gay, and then because he has that sexual issue and being a gay, so I should now be blind to the fact that it might be a father, or somebody's son, or it might be a good specialist, or it might be a good engineer, a good worker, it might be a millionaire, it might be a successful person, it might be someone that is exceptional in other areas of his life. But when I go and call him gay, I have reduced him to only one identity. I have reduced him only to one story. I have reduced him only to one-sided information. I have killed every other identity about him. I have killed his achievement that he has. I have already destroyed his reputation that he has worked out all his life to have. I have reduced his success, him being a good child or a good son to his father or to his son, to his parents. I have reduced it to just one thing: gay. I have reduced his brain to only one thing: sexuality, gay. I have reduced his kindness, his generosity, any good thing about him. I have reduced everything to one word: gay. So I made my own decision that I will never refer to any human being as gay anymore. It's just like the same thing like with me or you. If you have an issue, let's say you lie. Will you like anybody to be calling you and just forget about your name and just be saying, that's a liar going, a liar? Or you have an issue with lust. Oh, that's a lustful person going. Every one of us has our own issues. Every one of us had our own issue, or we see have our own issues that what we struggle with. Or maybe you struggle with your sexuality, you have girlfriends or boyfriends, or you have any problem. Doesn't matter what problem you have. You want to be that everybody should forget about the good about you and just be calling you by the bad thing that you've done? Will you like to be identified and be branded by the bad thing you do, by the evil thing that is about you? And every one of us, there is something negative that somebody can find. Will you like to be identified and just to be branded by that single information? Don't brand people by one-sided information. Don't look at life by one-sided information. Just like with Muslims, just like with gay, just like with other people, and the same thing with or even people in our churches or people who are even unbelievers. I have also come to the conclusion that I would not be looking at unbelievers in a hostile way. That these are unbelievers. Just wipe them out. Just forget about them. No, they are non-believers. The way we look at unbelievers sometimes, it's like we are condemning them already. How can you condemn people that God has not condemned? Jesus said that even unbelievers, he said there are other folks who are not of this folk. There are other sheep who are not of this folk who are supposed to come in. And even Jesus, when he looked at them, he looked at unbelievers, he said he had compassion on them because he said they were like sheep without shepherd. So he didn't just use one information that because they are unbelievers, they must be condemned. That sometimes is the way we look at unbelievers in our cities. That is sometimes the way we look at unbelievers in our country. Then how do we expect them to come and join us? Because we already put a demarcation. We already separated ourselves from them. We already locked them out. We already condemned them as unbelievers. How do we then expect them to come and join us? So instead of looking at people as unbelievers, I would rather look at them as sheep who are lost that need to come back to the fold. And that Jesus said he had compassion. We should rather be having compassion on people who have not gone to know the Lord. We shouldn't be using their sin or their lifestyle to judge them and to just condemn them right now. Christianity is much more complex than we're thinking. But the problem of one-sided information, nobody likes to be branded like that. Like I told you my story, how I was, one-sided information almost ruined my life. And the same thing with you. You could remember something about your life when one-sided information almost ruined your life. So one-sided information, we don't like it to be applied to us. Then why do we apply it to other people? If you don't want one-sided information to be applied to you, if you don't want people to judge you by one-sided information, don't judge other people by one-sided information too. If you don't want other people to look at you and just one-sided said, this is who you are, don't do that to others as well. You know, and there is another scripture that tells us a very good story about one-sided information. We should always look at the other side. We should always hear the other side. Everything changes when you hear the other side of the story. You remember the story about Solomon. Solomon was regarded as smart and as a wise king, and the epitome of his wisdom was when he decided not to look at a case one-sided. You remember when the lady came to him and said that was his child, and that was her child, and that the other lady stole the child. Thank God that Solomon was smart enough to look at the other side of that story. When Solomon decided to listen to the other lady, he discovered that no, thank God he didn't just listen to one side. Because he listened to these two sides, he was able to take the right decision. And that is one of the hallmarks of the life and ministry of Solomon, because he listened to the other side. When we consider the other side of the story, when we listen to the other side, it makes us wise. We become wise when we consider the other side of the story. We become wise when we, even criminals, even people who are already condemned in the court of law, we should still try to hear their own story. We should still try to listen to them. We should still try to understand people's arguments, or why people become who they became, why people are who they are, or why people behave the way they behave. Try to listen to the other side of the story. Never take a decision based on one-sided information. Never relate to people based on one-sided information. Never look at the world based on one-sided information. Never condemn people based on one-sided information. Never judge people based on one-sided information. I have another example for you. You remember there's this president in Africa that is called Mugabe. Mugabe. What's his first name again? Mugabe. What's his name? He's the president of Zimbabwe. Yeah, and everybody laughs at this man. They laugh at him and say Mugabe, or he wanted to kill the farmers, or he was taking, because we are all relating to Mugabe according to the news report we hear from BBC, Reuters, CNN, and all these people. They have painted the picture of that man as if he's a demon, as if he's the worst president, as if he's the most foolish president in the world, as if he's the Robert, yes, thank you, Victor, Robert Mugabe. So we all paint a picture of Robert Mugabe as if he's the most stupid person, as if he's not smart at all, as if he's so foolish, as if he's not, it's as if he's crazy, as if how could he be a president? But recent research has shown that Robert Mugabe is the smartest of all presidents. He's the most educated, at least. That man is the most educated. So because he's not reasoning the way the West wants him to reason, just because he's not thinking the same way our mass media and everybody, so it has been sold to all of us that Robert Mugabe is a crazy man. But really, maybe he's not crazy. He just has his own way of looking at the world. He has a different concept. He has his own passion. And we don't even bother to listen to his own story. And because Robert Mugabe doesn't have the media power of the Western world, the BBCs, the CNN, he doesn't have the same ability to be able to sell his own side of the story. And the whole world is just judging him by one-sided story. And that's another example, you see. That's another example of one-sided story, that the mistake we made by judging people and by looking at the world by one-sided story. The same thing happened with Jesus, You remember the story when people were condemning Jesus for accepting Mary Magdalene? Because Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. And in that society, they only judge people by one-sided information. They were judging Mary Magdalene by the fact that she's a prostitute. And so because she's a prostitute, finished. Her life is finished.
They just, she's not allowed to move close to a man. She's not allowed to be accepted in the society. She's not permitted to come to, public meetings. So when this lady, who was already judged by one-sided information that she was a prostitute, nobody knows that she's a loving lady. Nobody wants to care that she has a heart, a loving heart. Nobody cares that she's grateful. She's a grateful person. Nobody wants to care that she is even having more out of gratitude than all of them that think they are good. She is even have a more heart of benevolence than every other person in that city or in that town or in that meeting. So when she came and Jesus accepted her, everybody was so shocked. Like, they were actually criticizing Jesus. Why should you allow that lady to come to you? Don't you know who she is? We know who she is. She's a prostitute. You see, they have put a stigma on her. They have put a stigma on her. And people put stigma on people that way. We put stigma on people because we think that, because we are judging them by the one-sided information that we have. And thank God for Jesus. Jesus defended her. Jesus stood in her defense. And Jesus said, you didn't give me a water. You didn't do what she has done. She has qualities in, even though she was a prostitute, but she has qualities in her that you people don't have. And I forgave you people also your sins, but you are not coming to say thank you. She was forgiving her sins, and she has come to express her gratitude, which you have not done. She has qualities. Everybody that we are trying to judge or look down on or think of in by one-sided information, there is the other side of them. Everybody has another side of them. Everybody has another side to them. The same thing with Jesus's mother. You see, when she was pregnant without a husband, and how do we respond also to people today who are pregnant without a husband? Somebody got pregnant, a single mother, we know the way we respect the single mothers. We know the way we respect the people who don't have, who have made a mistake in their lives. And the mother of Jesus was almost fell into that category. She was almost condemned. She was almost thrown out of her matrimonial home, even by her husband. It took an angel to convince the husband Joseph not to throw her out, because she was pregnant without a husband. You see, it's a stigma. So we put stigma on people when we base our judgment on them on one-sided information. Whenever you look at the world by one-sided information, you put stigma on people. We stigmatize people. We stereotype people. We are stereotyping people, stigmatizing people just because we look at them by one-sided information. So my appeal to you all today is, before you judge, before you come to conclusion about anybody, about anything, about any information you hear, if you hear anything in the newspaper, if you hear anything on the television, before you come to conclusion about the person, look for the other side of the story. Look for the other side of the story. Look, hear the other side. Be like Solomon. Hear the second side. There is always two sides to a story. There is always two sides to a coin. There is always two sides to an event. Don't look at the world. Don't look at Africa only one-sided. Don't look at black people only one-sided. Don't look at women just one-sided. Look at the world in a different way. Don't just keep on stereotyping yourself or people. Let's make the world a better place. Don't make our world even worse because of our worldview, because of the way we look at the world. Well, my time is up. This is such a painful and such an emotional message to me today. I really hope that somebody will hear it. I really hope that you people will go ahead and share it. I really hope that somebody will listen to this message. I really hope so. I really hope somebody will listen to it. I really hope this will make the world a better place. I really hope so. I really hope so. I really hope so. So let's go and share this message if you don't mind. Let's share this message with people who we have on our base. Oh my, I have so many comments here. I'll go and read them later because my time is so up. I might not be able to read all these messages right now. But let's go and share them. And I think this word needs to go around. I think it needs to go around. I think we need to make our world a better place, and for us to do that, it has to start with each and every one of us. So don't look at poor people anymore and stigmatize them.
Don't look at unfortunate or misfortunate people, or I'm distant and just and yeah. It's just let's change our attitude towards people. Let's make the world a better place. Thank you so much. Blessings. See you tonight. Yes, well, this is another day. This is Sunday Adelaja here, ready to go. Today is Wednesday, and we continue to work on the wisdom. Ooh, my God, I didn't mention the topic that I'm talking on today. Okay. Hello, Shegun Fatuma is the first person here today. Good morning. How are you today? Moses Neyman, good morning. How are you today? Kenneth Amobi, good morning. Nira Kolawole, Toronto, good morning. Bosef Fire Juola, blessings. Olatunde Steve, Temitope Omo Kuwajo, Prince Esson, Yetunde, of course. Omoile is there as usual. Kiro is there, my best lady, my lady of honor, my brother. Gideon, Roslyn, Oluwatoyin, Jonathan, Cynthia, Donna Villa from Singapore, Olufemi, Nikki Okoro from London, Douglas, Akimbo Soye, Oluwayomi Flair, Ayodeji, Teddy, Paulus, Christian Sayers, Abia Kosh, Engineer Sam Mamia, William Dika, Samuel Oduro, Jot Idowu, Tiger Diepre, Thompson Finney, Sexton from Thailand, Femi King from Australia, John Paul from, I can't see where. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Of course, Lola Shorunke from California. Nice to welcome all of you this morning. Well, it's another day, glorious day, and we are ready to go by the grace of God. By the grace of God, we are ready to go for another wisdom tips for today. So, wisdom tips for daily living. Wisdom tip for daily living. So what's the wisdom tip I want to share with you today? That will be, I'm sure that has been the question on your mind, right? You've been thinking, what is Pastor Sunday up to today? Well, Pastor Sunday is always bringing you fresh bread on daily basis. Fresh manna like God did in the wilderness. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. And we'll be having a terrific week, and more truth that will help our life is ahead of us in Jesus' name. So today, I'm talking on never take a decision under pressure. Never take decisions under pressure. Never take decisions under pressure. Because that is a common thing we all have. It's a common thing. Everybody putting pressure on us. If you said people don't put pressure on you, you are not living in the real world. Everybody calling you and wanting you to do something right now. Or they want you to respond to a suggestion that they are giving, or, an idea that they have, or they want you to just take a decision as fast as possible. But it is never wise to be in a hurry or to rush to take a decision. It's never wise to take a decision under pressure, especially when people are pressurizing you, when people are telling you you must do it now, and it's going to be late tomorrow. Anytime people come to you with such stories that you must do it now, you must take a decision now, and you must commit now, it means, it's better for you to just back out and believe God to give you a better opportunity, especially when it comes to money. When it comes to investing money or putting money into somewhere, or committing your money to people, don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to take decision, especially under pressure. Don't let people pressurize you. Don't let people put pressure on you to take decision. No matter what, how little it might look like, the decisions you take under pressure always have consequences. The decisions you take under pressure always have consequences. And, our life is full of decisions. And that is the challenge there, because, we take decisions every day, and decisions make up our life. As a matter of fact, our life is the subtotal of the decisions we have taken. Some good, some bad, but you are a result of your life decisions. By the way, I didn't tell people to share the link. I started immediately. I started so fast. But if you have the opportunity to go and share the link right now, let's go ahead and do it. If not, don't let us forget to share it when towards the end of the day. Towards the end of the program. Anyway, our decisions make up who we are. We are a result of our decisions. We are a subtotal of the decisions we have made. Let's say, for example, if you're an engineer today, it's because you took a decision to go into engineering school, or you took a decision to go to study engineering in university. That's why you are an engineer today. If you are a medical doctor today, that is as a result of the decision. If you are married today, it's as a result of decision, because you took the decision to accept the marriage proposal that came to you, or you took the decision to go and propose in marriage to somebody else. And and whoever you are married to today is a result of your decision. So that's why it is very faulty and it is very wrong to keep on blaming somebody else for your life or for the things that are happening in your life. Because it is anything that is happening in your life, anything you have today in your life is as a result of decisions that you have taken one time or the other. So our lives is a subtotal of our decisions. Our life is a subtotal of our decisions. So if whatever you have in your life now is because you took a decision regarding that. So if you some people will say, well, somebody else made me to take that decision, but well, you still took that decision anyway. Or sometimes it could even be lack of decision taking. Lack of decision taking is also decision taking. It's at your feet. The buck rests at your doorstep. You are the one to take responsibility for all your decisions. So so decisions are very important in our lives, and our decisions shape our lives. We become what decision we have made. The decisions we have made is an absolute reflection of our life. Our life is the absolute reflection of the decisions we have made. Wherever you are today is as a result of your decisions, of the decision you have taken. If you are living outside of your country, well, one day you took that decision to travel out, and that is, you are now enjoying or reaping the consequences of that decision. If you took decision to go and work in that place where you are working, well, it's because you took that decision. So your life is as a result of your decision. Do you like your life? You don't like your life? Well, it's because maybe you have made some decisions that are wrong one time or the other. If you don't like your life, it means you have taken some wrong decisions sometimes. If you like your life, if you like what you say, maybe thank God you've been able to take some very good decisions in your life. But no matter who you are, and no matter how good decisions you've been able to take in your life, it also means that, there is no way you will say that you've never made or taken wrong decisions. All of us have been guilty of this, all of us. If you look critically into your life, you discover that there have been instances, there have been, times when you could remember, decisions you have taken that have landed you in pain, and that have become, that have ended very bad, and that, that have brought sorrow to you, or maybe that are still bringing sorrow to you. All of us are a victim of that, unfortunately. We sometimes take wrong decisions, and we have to face the consequences of those wrong decisions. But so how do you minimize the possibility of taking the wrong decisions in your life? And one of the ways to minimize the possibility of taking wrong decisions is to make up your mind that you will never take decisions under pressure. You will never take decisions under pressure, or you will limit the amount of decisions that you take under pressure, especially when people are trying to hurry you, when people are trying to rush you and make you to take decision, and and say something or do something right now. It's better to always take a pause and to step backward and to to take your time, and there are a lot of things for you to really take the right decisions in your life. There are a lot of things to consider. For example, you all remember the story of the story of the prodigal son. The prodigal son. That prodigal son, his life was a result of, it's a reflection of bad decision. He had a good father, and his father was there ready to bless him and his brother with some, pretty good inheritance. And this man was under pressure. What kind of pressure was he under? Obviously, he was under the pressure of his body. He was under the pressure of his ego. Because when we are young and we are growing up, we are naturally under the pressure to impress our peers, or to do something quickly, to have a quick success, and to go and impress your girlfriends or your boyfriends, and to just go and make something happen, and to really prove to people who your father is, and or who you really are, that you are really this cool guy, and you have all the money that it takes in the world. So that prodigal son, the reason why Jesus gave us a story is because he wanted us to see how costly bad decisions could be, and how costly, decisions that are in a haste or in a hurry, how costly they could be to each and every one of us. And we saw the consequences of the bad decision, bad decision in the life of this prodigal son. He had to go and be eating with pigs. It was so bad. And everything he took, he wasted them. He lost everything. Thank God, God is a God of second chance, and he could come back and still, retrace his ways. Same thing. And the Bible says something like that again in the book of Proverbs, that any inheritance that is taken in a hurry, will not be blessed afterwards. So anything we do in a hurry, really, and we do too fast, in a hurry and hasty, they always have, not too good consequences. And I'm sure some of you will remember issues or instances in your life or in the life of other people when you have taken decisions that have not really gone down very well with you or with other people. So don't ever succumb to taking decision in a hurry or under pressure. Refuse. Never make decisions. Never take your decisions in a hurry. So don't take decisions under pressure, and don't take decisions in a hurry, because most decisions you take under pressure are probably going to be a mistake. They are probably going to be a mistake, or they are going to be something that you are missing. You are going to miss out on something. So be careful about your decisions. And so what are the things that we need to consider for us to be able to take the right decisions? And that's what I will be talking to you about today. What are the things that I and you need to consider to take the best decisions? And since decision is one of the, since decision is one of the things that really make us who we are, and since our life is a subtotal of our decisions, and since wherever we are today is as a result of one decision or the other that we have taken, and then we have to pay attention to the art of decision making. We have to pay attention to how to really make informed decisions, how to make sure that our decisions don't end up in pain for us. They don't ending us in soup. And how do we make sure that our decisions actually, go well with our destiny, with our future, that we become a better person as a result of our decision. One, the first point that you need to consider why you want to take any decision. First of all, you remember the most important lesson out for today is we don't take decisions under pressure. You should just remove that. I know people who have lost money because they take decisions under pressure. I remember one time a friend of mine, and that is a problem, because we trust people. And, sometimes some of the decisions we take, we don't take them on the basis of the fact that they are the true or they are the best decisions. Most of the time we take our decisions because we trust the people that are coming to us. We trust the people that come to us. For example, if you heard of Ukraine, for example, I'm in Ukraine here, And if you heard that there have been some scandals about me and around my life, and I've been in court for the past 7 years, I've not been traveling from Ukraine. You know why that is? Because of trusting the wrong person, because of trusting the wrong people. What happened was that I had, our church is a big church, 25,000 people. And so, you cannot control everything that happens. But I didn't know there are evil people out there. And especially when they know who you are, that you are very trusting. And my wife and people around me always say that is my biggest weakness, that I trust people. I'm too trusting, too believing. I believe people too much. Anyway, but in this case, what happened is that, we had some people came, some people are having their own plans. You think that everybody have good intentions and everybody have good thoughts, but some people actually plan evil. So there were some people that, got together and saw that we had this crowd. And to them, crowd means money. And if you have a lot of people, it means you have a lot of money in your organization, in your church. So to have 25,000 people every day, day in, day out, every weekend in this church, they just said, wow, what kind of money is going on around that place? So what they did is that they knew that because they were not members of the church, there is no way they could gain our trust and ask for people to give their money. So what they did is that they found some of my youth pastors, young people. Young people, they are not so analytical. So they found, and I was so busy that time. I used to travel. I didn't have the time to really sit down and, look into the situation myself. And I came back from one of my travelings, and then I had them announcing in the church this investment company, and the investment company was going to give people, a big percentage for their investment, for their money. And I said, okay, who is behind? I just asked one of my pastors who is in charge. I said, oh, who is in charge of that business? What kind of business is that? Oh, so they mentioned the name of a young guy and said, oh, he's our youth pastor. He has a partner that, they are doing investment. I said, okay, let me call. So I called one of the assistant pastors who is in charge of the youth. I said, okay, let him go and research that company and tell me if everything is okay there. If it's nothing bad for the people in the church to invest their money. So he came back to me 2 weeks later. I said, oh, I've gone to investigate and, everything is okay. And, since I was so busy with many other things, I trusted my youth, my assistant pastor that is in charge of the youth ministry. So he trusted the youth pastor that he was supposed to go and monitor. So they all came back to me, gave me a clean sheet and said, yes, everything is okay. Yeah, maybe everything was okay, but there were some things they didn't see. They didn't, because everything seemed okay. But when crisis came, when the 2008 crisis hit the Wall Street, and the real estate prices came down, we discovered that these people, they were over generous with their money. They were giving too much percentages, and then when the prices came down, they couldn't come through. They couldn't pay all the people their money back. And of course, the politicians jump in the bandwagon. They just say, "Well, is that happening in Pastor Sunday's church? This is our chance to get him." And they started all these investigations and attack. They said it was a scheme. It means it was especially arranged something. So Pastor Sunday probably arranged that. He put all those people and for them to steal money from his own church. I say, you're crazy. I mean, that is totally a crazy idea. How can I give my life to gather my own church and then steal money from my own church? Anyway, so that is, but at the bottom line, what am I trying to say? The reason why I am suffering, what I'm suffering, going to court and needed to put my innocence and everything, even though they know I don't have anything to do with it, but it's because I trusted people who I worked with. I trusted people that were around me. I trusted them into my work, into my life work, into, the whole thing that I gathered all through my life. I was just trusting. I trusted, first of all, the youth pastor that he would never do anything crazy. And he also trusted a friend of his that he didn't know that maybe somebody was using him to go and make money out of the church. So he trusted the wrong person. Then my pastor, my assistant pastor in charge of the youth, trusted the youth pastor. I trusted him. I trusted all of them back down the way. And that trust is costing me 7 years of now traveling out of Ukraine because I have to go and clear my name in court. And all kind of bad press,
media, of course, media, politician, everybody got in behind it and started, all kind of bashing, tongue bashing and everything. So what I'm saying is that some of the greatest pain in your life will come because of your decisions. And maybe because maybe you didn't even take the decision directly. Like in my case, I didn't take the decision directly. I didn't take the decision to allow the guy to come in and so on. But I saw it. I didn't stop it. I trusted people. So our greatest pain are always coming from the people we trust, my dear. So who you trust. When you trust the wrong person, or you take a decision trusting people without doing your due diligence, without doing your research, without doing, knowing all what you need to know, because people just want to beg you, oh, pastor, do this, do this, do this. That is the way you suffer a lot. You suffer a lot that way. So it's expensive. It's painful when you take a decision without thorough research. So number one point that you need to consider when you are taking a decision, when you want to take a decision, and for your decision to be credible, for you not to regret your decision, is the factor of research. Make sure you do your own work, you do your due diligence, do your research. Researches are still, some of the most reliable ways to base your decisions on. Don't base your decisions on prophecies alone. Don't base your decision on, a feeling. Oh, I have a feeling. Oh, I think God is telling me this. Oh, this is what I think that is happening. Don't base your decision on feeling. Don't base your decision on other people's revelation. I don't, not that I don't believe in prophecy, not that I don't believe in revelation. I believe in all that, but, I've been living in this world for so long. I'm going to be 50 years soon. I'm going to be 50 years. I've seen a lot of decisions that have ended up in chaos and in pain. I have been around for so long to now know that prophecies, revelations are not the basis for you to take your decisions. Even if you have revelation and prophecies, go ahead and do your research. Research is still a much more reliable way and means to base your decision on than on prophecy. When it comes to prophecy, I had a friend of mine also who was a pastor, big pastor. And, everybody have been prophesying there's going to be this or this, especially when it comes to money. People come, they know you have money, they come to you and they put pressure on you. They use anything they need to use. If they need to use prophecy, they will use prophecy. If they need to use revelation, they will use revelation. So they came to me and said, well, there is this man of God, another man of God, a pastor in South Africa is a pastor too. So all these are happening between pastors, And pastors are supposed to believe each other. Pastors are supposed to trust each other. You see, most of our decisions are simply based on trust, and which is wrong. Most of our decisions are supposed to be based on research, not on trust. On research, on facts, not on trust. So 99% of people in the world will base our decisions on trust rather than on facts. So what happened was, these people came to me and they had all these prophecies going on for them. And they said, everybody, this prophet from America confirmed me, this prophet from Holland, this prophet from, so this my guy was a good friend of mine, and a good pastor, successful pastor, and from Holland. And he came to me and said, we need to, there is an opportunity to invest money, a big amount of money into another pastor in South Africa. And, the money will yield this and all that. So, and the God has prophesied that he wants to bless his church, he wants to expand his, your bless, all kind of blessings and prosperity and blessings people promise you all the time. And so I, to convince my wife, we took all our life savings and invested in that company, in that other pastor, on the basis of all the prophecies and confirmation and all that. You know what? That's why I told you that I'm an old man already. I'm an old man. I'm 50 years old. I've been living here for so long to believe that, to now know the difference. Either you take a decision based on prophecies or decision based on research. Well, if you want to believe my experience, and I've had a little bit of those experiences, you better believe me that prophecies are good. Yeah, but if you want to really take informed decision, you better cross-check. You better do your research. I don't need to tell you how that story ended with my money in South Africa. Yeah.
I don't need to tell you how it ended. And what happened to those pastors? Well, you know what normally happens. People disappear. Or people begin to just throw their hands in the air and say, well, I didn't know. I thought. Well, what can you do? Somebody thought. And because somebody thought, all your life saving is gone. All your life saving is gone. So research is the best basis of taking informed decisions. So that's number one. Don't base your decisions on other people's decisions or other people's prophecies or other people's revelation. Base it on research. Number two, the other thing that we do wrong when we take decisions and when our decision become catastrophic and painful is because we normally take our decisions following the crowd. A lot of people take decisions because their friends have taken that decision, or because their friend or their relatives have taken that decision, or because of their colleagues who have taken similar decision, or because of their, their sphere of influence or their acquaintances who have done similar things. So most of the time, you investigate, you research. We take a lot of decisions because we know that other people have taken similar decisions. We go with the crowd, where we follow the mass, we follow the crowd, and that is a wrong thing to do. Don't always follow the crowd when you want to take a decision. Make sure that it is your own decision. Make sure that you are well informed about that decision. Make sure that you have enough information about the decision. It is not enough that the crowd is going there. It is not enough that the crowd is doing one thing or the other, especially if that decision is a decision that could cost you something. Like in my own case, that will cost you your life saving. I mean, you have your wife to deal with after that. If you're a man, you know what that means. When you convince your wife to give all your life savings, and you have to come back to your own wife and even though I'm black, you have to turn red and try to explain to her what just happened to all her life savings. And that is not an easy thing, because you need to wake up with her next morning and look at her face again, and you need to ladies have a way of reminding you. Ladies have a way of reminding you of all your wrong decisions. They will let you know that you took some decisions the other day that cost them their whole life savings. So especially if they are serious decisions like that, it is not enough that all your friends and relatives or people that you respect are doing it. Make sure that you put your feet on the ground and get all the information that you need. Don't rely on the fact that all the crowd is going there, everybody is doing it, then it must be a right decision to take. So another thing that's number 3 thing that I want you, or number 4 thing that you need to consider when you are taking a decision is that about anything is that sometimes we make a mistake of taking a decision because the thing we hear sounds similar to what we're already thinking. Most of the time we take decisions because what we are hearing or what we have been told is similar to what we thought, or what we have always thought. It sounds similar. Familiar. Is either familiar with what we want, what we ourselves want to be or to happen, or what we desire, or what we have been thinking about. So the fact that you have been thinking about it still doesn't make it the truth. The fact that you have been thinking about in that line, or you have had that line of thought, doesn't mean that decision you are about to take will be confirmed. So even though the thing, that the proposal or the suggestion that is brought to you is something that you have been thinking about, or is something that sounds familiar to you, or is something that you have been wanting to happen, but still take your time and still do your research. Still take your time and do your due diligence. Even though the thing that is sounding to you as if, oh, this is familiar, or oh, this is what I always thought, or this is what I thought should be. but still take your time, especially if it's a decision that is having consequences. A lot of people are living in unhappy marriage today because of their decisions. And once you are married, it's difficult to come out of it. And you've lost your virginity, you've lost your innocence, you've lost, your integrity of the families are involved. It's a difficult thing to break down the family or to divorce after you are married. And but some people, take decisions even to marry. I mean, it's things like that in a way that, it's just coming out without doing their thorough research or their thorough investigation. They didn't do research, they didn't investigate the person, the background of the person, their habits, their weaknesses, their failures, their history or their past. If you don't do those kind of investigation, you would later on regret your marriage life. You would later eventually regret. Not everybody is good. Don't just believe people. Don't just trust them what they say or what other people say about them. Take your time and make sure that you do your due diligence. And some people also take decisions to give birth, to begin to have children, when they've really not done all the investigation that needed to be done about how to rear children, how to raise up children, about their body, about their finances, about their, conditions of life, about, the prospects of raising the children and what will happen later on in their lives. So a lot of these things that we refuse to really consider and to give thorough thought to, just because we believe that, it's the same feeling that I have, or it falls with my feeling, or we take decisions on a daily basis. Either it's about our job, or it's about our church, or it's about our giving, or it's about our, it doesn't matter. Any decision you take, the fact that other people are doing it, the fact that people are putting you under pressure, the fact that you need to quickly take decision, they are not basis to take decision. Those kind of decisions will end up in pain. Even the fact that you feel that, this is what I've always thought, or this is what I've always thought, is still not a reason for you to take any decision. Decisions that are taken in a hurry or under pressure like that, or under influence of other people, will end up being false and erroneous. You end up regretting it. Now, the other thing is that, like I said, like the example I gave earlier, that, especially for Christians, this is another reason, another thing you must avoid when you're about to take decisions. We Christians seem to be very trustworthy. Like I said, that's my weakness personally. I'm too trustworthy. I trust people. I just don't believe in the evilness of men. I believe in the goodness of men. So I trust people. But especially when you're a Christian, you want people to trust you, so you trust people. And Christians are believers. We believe people. We believe God. We believe people. And unfortunately, when you believe people, we have the tendency of believing the wrong people. Not everybody have pure conscience. Not everybody have good intentions. So if you are a trustworthy person, this is the next point I'm making. If you are a trustworthy person, or you are a Christian, and you have the tendency to believe that love trusteth all things, love believeth all, you need to be careful about that, because you don't want to trust the wrong people. Like I said earlier on, some of the biggest pain in life is because you trust the wrong people. So don't be too trustworthy to neglect research. What I've decided to do in my own situation is that, even though I still trust people, because I would rather not keep on trusting people and suffer the consequences than close my heart and close my mind about people. No, I will never close my mind, because that is against love. I would rather keep on trusting people. But there is a saying that says that trust but verify. But verify. So that's what I've decided to do now. I trust people, I believe people, but I also take my time to verify. So that's what we need to think. We need to do. Verification is important. Even though you are a trusting person, tell them I believe you, and because I believe you, that's why I want to verify. I believe you, I trust you. They say, you don't believe me. They get annoyed. They were offended. They say, no, take it easy. I believe you, I trust you, but I've made too much mistakes. It's not because of you, it's because of me. I don't trust myself. I believe you, but I don't trust my own decisions without facts. I need to get some facts. So even though I trust you, but I still need to verify. and just tell them that I'm sorry. It's not about them. It's not that you don't believe them. You believe them, but you need to get your facts right. You need to verify and make sure that the facts are okay. So don't say because people disappoint you and because people will fail you, now that is the reason for you to now totally stop trusting people. Well, that will also be a wrong decision, because if you Bible says that love believeth all things, so if you say you are not going to trust people, you're not going to believe people, that also might hamper your work life, your love life, and you might begin to be suspicious, and that's not a good thing to do. When you are suspicious of people are suspicious of you, people don't trust you too, and then you become a kind of mania. So you don't want that to happen to you. So we trust people, we believe people, but we just say we trust, but we verify. We trust, but we verify. We want to cross-check what we believe in. We want to cross-check our feelings. We want to cross-check our information. And there's nothing bad about that. Take your decisions on the basis of your verification and the information that you've got and the research that you've done. Now, another point I want to make. Some of the reason that makes our decisions very painful and the mistakes that we make when we're taking decision is that most of the time we are busy. Like I said in the beginning of the story, of this my message, I told you about the fact that I was so busy traveling and doing a lot of things. So I needed to trust a lot of the work in the hand of my assistants, and they were the ones who were taking the decision, and I just trusted them. But that was not enough. But the point I want to make right now is that sometimes we have overload of activities and overload of information. We are too busy. We are too overloaded with different things. So because we are too overloaded and too busy, we tend to just take decision in a hurry. We tend to take a decision, while we are running, while we are, busy, while we are, just on the go. And that also could be very painful. So some of the most painful decisions you ever take are the ones you are taking just on the run, without really doing thorough thinking about it, without doing thorough investigation and thorough research on the decision and the consequence of the decision and all that. So don't be in a hurry to take a decision when you are under pressure, or when you are overloaded. When you are overloaded with activities, with too much information, and and it's difficult for you to really be very well informed and be best, to be able to take the best decision. So when you are overwhelmed or when you are overloaded with activities or information, it's not the best time to take decision. So you want to just take your time and say, okay, wait now. And then some people just say, I need to pray about it. That's what I hear people say all the time. I need to pray about it. If you are saying you need to pray about it so that you'll be able to escape, maybe that's not a bad thing to do. But if you say you just want to pray, it is only the prayers that lead you into decision. I've seen a lot of that also, even in my own life. You pray and you think you have peace about it, and still you make a mistake. And so prayer alone is not enough basis for you to take decisions. And for Christians, most of us seem to settle for prayers all the time. We want to say we just want to pray about it. And when we pray, we think we get to go ahead, because God will always give you his peace anyway. And it doesn't really matter. Sometimes God will not even talk. Sometimes God will be quiet. And the reason God will normally be quiet when we're asking him about one decision or the other is because, it's God is neutral. God is not God's business. Don't bother him about your decisions. A lot of our decisions is not a God decision. It's our own decision. And God knows that he has given you a mind anyway. He has given you brain. Use your mind. Use your mind. Use your common sense. Use your knowledge. Go get knowledge. Go get understanding. Go get wisdom. Go investigate. Go do research. And God knows that he will not do that for you. Angels will not do that for you. So when you are asking God to reveal this to you or reveal that to you, God will just be quiet. Have you noticed it before? That most of the time when we pray to God, that he should reveal to us whether this decision is the right one or the other, maybe whether we should take that decision or not, that God will normally be quiet. 99% of the situation when we're asking God to tell us and we are praying for something for God to reveal to us or to confirm one thing to us or the other, God just keeps quiet. And the reason why God keeps quiet is because it's not his decision.
It's not his business. He has given you a mind. He has given you brain. He has given you, your head. Go do your work. Sometimes when we're all asking that God should reveal, give us confirmation for this or that, it is not because really, the reason why God will be quiet is because it's just laziness. It's a way of covering our own laziness. We say, I will pray about it and let God confirm. God will not confirm, and we are just lazy to go and do our work. So instead of bothering God and making God to be the one to be responsible for our decisions, we should just admit that is laziness. And instead of just being lazy and say, I feel good about it, feeling could be deceptive. And, God will just be quiet. And while God is quiet on you, go and do what you need to do. Go and do your own research. Go and do your own investigation. Get all the facts together. If you don't have all the facts, defer the decision. Just let the decision hang. Just leave it all alone. Don't touch it. Because if you are going to be saying, God said, even if God said and you don't know the details, it will still lead you into trouble. Even if God said, you still have to do your research, you still have to do your investigation, you still have to, get your facts together, so that apart from the fact that God said, you'll be able to know that apart from the fact that God said, I have the facts on this matter. I know exactly what I'm doing. It is not just because I feel good about it or the Holy Spirit or revelation, but because because I have the facts in my hand. There's another situation, or it's a different matter if you already have all the facts and you still don't have clearance. Then you could pray to God to help you, give you wisdom and give you understanding in how to, navigate between all the facts that you already have on ground. That is a different matter. But if you are praying to God without the facts, that is trying to cheat. That is trying to cheat. And God is not going to answer. But if you already done your investigations, if you already done your research, if you already done your due process, and now you are at the point whereby even despite your due process, and you are not getting clarity, then that is where you could say, okay, I'm praying, and that you are praying, and then God could help you in that process, and then help to give you a clarity about what you need to do. Now, another way we could, actually take better decisions is to give room for a sleeping. Sometimes we need to sleep in on our decisions. We need to just take some time out and sleep on it and sleep on decision. Sometimes, a lot of pressure come on us, and they want you to give decision today. But really, sometimes it's actually better for you to just sleep thinking about that problem, thinking about that decision you need to take, do your research, and go to sleep. God will normally sometimes talk to you, maybe while you are asleep. It could give you a dream, or it might not give you a dream. But when you wake up, you might come up with a creative idea, or you might come up with a solution that you never even thought about before. So sometimes sleep on your, on your questions, on your matter before you did take a decision. And sometimes you need to sleep on it, not just for one day. Sometimes you need to sleep on it for a month. Sometimes you need to sleep over it for a week. Sometimes you just need to sleep, to meditate about it and sleep on it and sleep over it and pray, sleep over it, and let God minister to you. Let God speak to you. So, but don't take decisions just based on emotions or on other people's prophecies or other people's revelations or other people's advice alone. Take your time to, that is laziness, when you're just waiting for people's advice. Take your time to do your research. But that the thing they are telling you agrees with the research that you have done. So we don't rule out other people. Yes, God could use other people to talk to us, and of course, other people have wisdom that we don't have, and we could learn from other people. We could seek advice from other people. But that doesn't say you should not do your own research. That doesn't deliver you from your own due process. So even though you are asking advice from other people, but that is not a strong enough reason on which to base your decision or your argument. Okay, let's look at another way that we could use to take better decisions.
You can also take better decisions by assessing your probabilities. You know, the decisions you take, sometimes it's needed for you. You need to give yourself pass mark. Give yourself pass mark. So to say, for example, this decision I took doing this, how am I, what is my probability, how close was I to the perfect decision? Was I 5/10, or let's say if the maximum mark you want to give yourself is 10, you want to say, okay, this decision, was it so poor that I could only give myself 2/10, or 5/10, or 3/10, 4/10, or was it so good that I could give myself 8/10, 9/10, 7/10, 6/10? So sometimes you need to assess your decision making process. You need to, give yourself marks. You need to, see because, it's like you are forecasting. It's like you are, you are doing taking risk. So it's sometimes we need to be able to assess our risk probability, our risk, intelligence. Our risk intelligence is called. So instead of you just to be depending on the spirit alone, develop your risk intelligence and see how you are able to take risky decisions, and how those decisions, how successful they have been, or how how unsuccessful they have been. You have to be able to say, okay, these decisions that I'm taking, let's assess. Because if you don't assess yourself, you don't investigate, and if you don't give yourself marks, then you'll keep on repeating the same mistakes. You keep on repeating the same mistakes, and then you keep on losing money, or losing relationship, or inflicting pain on yourself. Or you will be so afraid, and because you have failed one time or failed 2 times, you'll be so afraid of taking the next decision, that then, and if you don't take decision, you'll never be able to build your future, never be able to build your destiny. So so for you to escape from that trap of never taking any decision again because you are too afraid because of your past failure, or for you to keep on making the same mistake, you just need to begin to assess yourself. You need to begin to assess yourself and give yourself pass mark, and begin to risk intelligence. How am I doing? How am I tell her, okay, you go ahead and take the decision. So maybe you need to let somebody, you need to trust other people to help you take more informed decisions. Or you need to just begin to bring in experts, or professionals who might understand the question or the matter at hand better than you are. Because there are some people who are good in something. There are some people who are experts in some cases, or some people who are just talented in some questions. So you might need to consult the experts over some issues, and be able to tell them that, okay, this is what I'm going through, and pay them. It's better to even pay them. Let them help you, take informed decisions, rather than for you to keep on risking, and or not even be able to risk at all, and just be in a limbo. So instead of remaining in limbo in your life, you might want to just trust other people and ask them to help you. And sometimes prayers, of course, is helpful, because but prayers is not the only basis upon which we should take decisions. But still, we don't exclude prayers. What that means is that go pray. When you are praying, make sure that your heart is neutral. Be in a neutral position. Be in a neutral position, and don't take side. Don't take side for or against. Just clear your heart of. Don't be caught up in fear, and fear that I might not make it. Trust the wrong people. Trust people. People we trust bring of the most pain. So we have to be, at the end of the day, research, information, facts, they help you better to take better decisions than emotions, revelations, prophecies. I will be reading our comments. Okay, Nosla says hi. David Jenkins says amen. Kate Echi says, don't let fear or failure affect your decisions that I've made. Victor says, great wisdom from my pastor. Thank you. McDonald said, God bless you, Pastor. Thank you. Felix Belmont said, sometimes we deceive ourselves for waiting on miracles. We have to work it out. Yes, it's a deception a lot. Kenneth Amobi said, thank you, Pastor, for this topic. Another thing again about this, some of us go to our pastor to confirm the decisions for us without making and meditating about it. I was like that before until I break from that chain. May God have mercy and give us a better understanding. No. Your pastor might not be well informed. Your pastor might not know all the information. So instead of rely on your pastor, just go ahead and do your own research. Yetunde says, absolutely, Pastor. Most decisions have nothing to do with God. These days, Christians say, I'll pray about it without bothering to do a research. For example, the singles when they are making the choice of a life partner. Funmi Adewumi say, pray for clarity and discernment after your research. Yes. Oluwa Olumayokun says, he that believeth shall not make haste. Yes. Favor Isa says, I agree with you, sir. Feli says, even if God said you have to do your research, even if God said you still have to do your research, yes, for you to take steps. That is so true. Sean Babarish says, you just healed me, Pastor. Thank God. Thank God. It's the truth that healed you. Gift said, the Lord is your strength, sir. Thank you. Miss Favored Temishina said, very true. Ladi Shorunkese, I totally agree. Yulia Muzeshenka says, morning, sir. I've just come back to reality. Wow, I avoided hard work and responsibility in decision making for so many years. Now things will be better for you, my dear. Comfort says, thank you, Pastor. God bless you for this teaching. Eleanor says, thanks, Pastor. Princess Laura said, true word from you, Pastor. Again, don't forget to share this link. Let's go and press our share button as we are reading this. Fumi says, thank you, Pastor, for this food for thought. Okay. Cecile says, trust, pray, and verify. Yes. You need to trust and verify. Abby Koch says, food for thought, research. Don't follow the crowd. Trust and verify. Yes. Rodriguez Lupe says, or Lupe, we should be busy praying. No, not just pray, but do research. Shegun Lawal says, in God we trust, all others we verify. That's well said. In God we trust, all others we verify. Yes. Stephen Innocent says, wow, thanks, sir. Trust and believe is really an eye-opener. Yes, not just trust and believe, but trust and verify. Okay. RCCG Durham said, even Jesus was betrayed. So this is part of life. So never just rely on other people's decisions. Devon Mackenzie said, don't be trustworthy that you neglect to research. That is true. Don't be so trustworthy that you neglect to research. Yeah. Abby Koch says, it takes the grace of God and humility for you to be sharing this deep information with us. We bless God for you. Okay. Thank you. I just have to, I need to do what I need to do. Tell you the truth. If I'm here to help you, I must be sincere about helping you. Sheyi say, pray and think things through thoroughly. Well, yeah. You need to pray and then still think things through thoroughly. And of course, research. Victor says, Osadolo, Pastor, I love you so much. You are a blessing to me. Thank you, Victor. Jot Idowu said, I trusted friends and pastors that really cost me a lot. Yeah, you see it? That really cost me a lot. Thank God I'm wiser now. Many base their lives on prophecy instead of researches. I learned a lot today. Thanks, Pastor. Well, I hope it will help you. I have a lot of stories to tell from my own life of trusting the wrong people and taking decisions under pressure. Only research is only verification is a basis for decision making. Osoba says, thank you, sir, for the topic, because something we do things wrong. Sometimes we do things wrong before we find out the truth. Yes. Shide Zuma says marriage decision is very fragile and difficult. It always comes when you want to get your desire. When you want to get your desire, you make a mistake. Abby Coach said, greater heights, sir. Well done for sharing this deep information. I'm blessed and touched. Thank you. George Aninye said, wrong decision of the past shouldn't stop us from moving on. Indecision is also risky. That's so true. Oreofe, hey, hi Oreofe, you were with me yesterday. I think it's the same Oreofe, I hope so. Says, yes, indeed, it's irresponsible of us to leave all the responsibility to God. Research is key. Thank you, sir. Yeah, he's the one. Oreofe, greetings from Kharkov. Yes, he's the guy. Margarita Christopher says, so helpful information. Thank you, Pastor. BC Awoeyo says, you are an epitome of success. The Lord is your strength. Yeah, I'm an epitome of success because I've made a lot of mistakes. And that's why I'm sharing with you some of the mistakes I've made in my life. So epitome of success, there is no success without failure. Anybody that has ever been successful in this life is because they have failed before. And so, but it's good that we could take, make lessons from our failures. We don't just sit there and begin to cry, but we actually, take the right decisions, verify and correct our decisions, our mistakes, and move on. Neki Okoro said, don't make haste to take decisions, search out matters. Yes. Nkiru Ojimadu said, Pastor Sunday might not be perfect, but he is real. And that makes the difference. Love you, sir. Thank you. Yesterday says, may God increase you in all ramifications, Pastor. You are indeed a great blessing to me. I have learned so much these few weeks. Thank you, sir. Dole Lee said, thank God for everything. God bless you, brethren. Yes, I think, and on that, our time is over for today. We'll come back in the evening to do analysis of, to do a review of this message. And then that is 9 o'clock in our time. That's 7 p.m. British time, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, 8 p.m. European time, and 2 p.m. America Eastern time. So I'll be happy to see you tonight. God bless you all. Bye. I'm going to tell the truth now to help people. I'm going to be telling the truth. A new idea, thank God I came up with it.
It's better than articles now.
Yeah, because an article is too long. Hello, everybody. Well, Sunday Adelaja here. I hope you people are ready. I hope so. Who is getting? Oh, Shegun Fatima is already inside. Hello, Brother Shegun. Blessings to you. How are you doing today? Well, we are ready to go. I'm here with Bosse Fayajola is the second one online. Then we have Toye Onagbesa. Yeah, how are you all doing? Welcome. Yes, Lanon Adebayo is here. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. We are ready to go, right? And please, as you are coming in, will you be kind to go and press your share button so that we will immediately begin to share and invite people to come and join us. Bebe Ndum is here as well. Mayo Y is here. Be precise, she says. Okay, blessings. Loveth is here. Uduakan. Lemshi Shidi is here. Olukayo De Kundayo is here. Shirley Turner is here. Paulos Gebre Sadik from Stockholm. Emmanuel Olushola is here as well. Tres Osai is here. Flair Karen is here. Abikosh, yes. Ajaya Maka. Bless you, madam. Ifeanyi Mbanogo is here. Tyra Ojemadu, hi. And Wendelin Marshall is here as well. Wow. Blessings to you all. Please, let's go and share the link. Let's go and share this. Let's go back to our, probably you need to go back to your timeline and press the share button. Then that's how we'll be able to bring in other people. Fumi Adewusi is here. Ewa Adeniji is here. Darling Rufus is here. Ronke is here from Pennsylvania, USA. Yes. Maria Barabash, privet. Good evening. You speak in English now. Frank Apia, wow, long time. Long time, Frank. Pastor Frank. Blessings to you. That's Denmark. Joyce Tete, blessings. Jonah Etim, hallelujah. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome. Mayowa says she has shared the link. I would like to encourage everybody else to go share the link as well. So let's go let's go share the link before we begin tonight. Tonight is going to be explosive. One of your favorites here is here. Roslyn Iola is here from UAE. Success from Kharkov is here. Okay. You are saying you are so excited that it's Pastor Joshua that's going to be here. Eh? You are in the spirit. You are in the spirit. Omokaro is here. Sam Minister is here. Kayode Amos, good evening. Bill Muna, good evening. I probably left out somebody. Cecile Eveze, good evening. Jonah Etim, right. Joyce Tet, all right. Coral Genifa, good evening. Well, we're ready to go. Olomu Kenneth is here as well. Well, yes, you are right. I have Pastor Joshua here. Pastor Joshua is ready to go. I'm sure he's been waiting for this. I'm sure he watched it in the morning. So, Pastor Joshua, what do you have to tell us?
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for coming in. It's my pleasure to be here with my mentor this evening to share my lessons with you and what I understood by this morning's topic. So I really hope we have a great time together. And this morning was really special to me because I am a victim of what was being talked about today. And at the same time, I'm also on the other end of doing the same thing to other people. So I was repenting, I was sober, I was happy. There were a lot of mixed emotions in there, but I can tell I was really delivered and healed by the message today. My eyes are opened and I know better than I knew before. And I can now relate to Pastor when he says those who are successful know something others don't. And the more, I take in these lessons, I can see myself changing on a daily basis because these truths are really setting me free from what I used to do before. So this was a really lovely experience for me this morning.
Yes, Joshua, you are just telling me something now before we started the program. That you now begin to understand me better. Much like what Sufficient was talking about yesterday, that she started understanding me better, why I am the way I am. What is it? What is it that is making you to understand me better?
Yeah, you see.
In what area? What are the practical examples?
Okay, one of the things that I noticed when I came close to Pastor is that he's very, loving and he's very tolerant. And I was not understanding it at first because I saw a lot of people screwing up. Even I myself, I screwed up a lot. In fact, if I were me, I would have fired me by now. But I saw that Pastor wasn't that way. And, most of the time, when people come to report issues to him, he doesn't really get agitated. He doesn't get angry. He just keeps very calm, like he didn't even hear anything. And we on the side, who are listening to the things other people are saying, we're getting angry, we're getting so pissed off and so emotional, and we want to just do, as much as we can to fix the situation. But we just noticed that he's really cool about the whole thing, and he just doesn't do, it's like almost like he's not doing anything, but he is doing. We know he's smart. We know he knows more than these people, but he lets them talk. He lets them do whatever they want to do. He lets somebody talk about the other person. And when that person who was talked about comes around, he just loves that person as if everything about that person is perfect.
As if you never heard anything bad. As if you
never heard anything bad about the person. And this person might have done the worst thing. This person might have, said the worst thing, but he embraces them. He loves them. And we, on the side, we're not even able to go as far as he's going. We were not the ones being talked about, but he's the one who was talked about. And we just watch him love these people and just let it go as if nothing happened. And then I was thinking to myself, I said, why is he this way? I never understood it. But with all these teachings, I'm beginning to understand why he is the way he is. He's not this way because, it's by accident. He's not this way because he prays a lot.
Or because he was born
he was born this way, or he just fell from heaven as part of grace. He actually understands something and is living by principles. And that is why he's able to operate the way he's operating. He has inculcated in himself things that have made him unique, things that have made him effective with people. And that's why he has the results he has. So when people talk about grace, talk about anointing, and I listen to messages like this, I'm like, this is not even in the same sphere. This has nothing to do with anointing. This is knowledge. This is wisdom. This is application of principles. Because these things are in the Bible, but nobody really pays attention to them. People just like to be spiritual. People just like to be religious.
Emotional.
But they like to be emotional, but they don't like to really apply principles and break things down into such a way that they can apply it to their lives and become like Christ. Pastor Sunday is just like Christ. And I'm not saying that because he's here or because I know him. I grew up in a church where I went to church 3 times every week. And every service we read at least, in every sermon, we read at least 25 different Bible verses. Many of the churches today don't read Bible. I grew up in a Bible-believing church. We read the Bible from cover to cover. Old Testament, New Testament, precept upon precept. We went through the Bible. But I never really saw people exercise this same understanding that Pastor Sunday is now sharing with us. To personify the Bible and actually personify Christ in such a way as he's doing. I saw some people come close out of the fact that they were really, dedicated to the scriptures and prayerful and spiritual. But many of them are not free to live the way he lives. They are not so open. They're not so tolerant. They are very guarded in the way they live their lives. And then we now understood that to be part of being like Christ because you're keeping the bad guys away. But Pastor Sonny embraces the bad guys. He embraces the good guys. He embraces the not so bad and not so good. Everyone, he takes on all comers, and he's very, tolerant and loving. And he listens to everybody. He doesn't take your word for it and ignore the other person. He listens to one person and he listens to the other party like he never heard anything before. And he's so objective in the way he handles situations. And when I started working with him, I started learning that as well. Because I started seeing that, look, I was very shallow in the way I used to deal with things. I could hear one side of the story and just jump into conclusions. And I found that many of us are actually like that. We believe the TV, we believe the media, we believe the first person who comes to us with a story. And we just write off the other person and just believe that person is as bad as they said. In fact, I was thinking today and I discovered that before I met Pastor Sunday, there were many things that were said about him that were bad, and I believed those things because I didn't know him. People kept telling me stuff, and I was like, oh wow, you mean that's happening? And I was like, wow, that is really bad. So in my mind, I was thinking that, okay, probably he has made some huge mistakes in his life, and probably the anointing.
He's a big sinner.
Yeah, he's a big sinner. Maybe the anointing of God has left him and things like that. And I actually heard, it's so sad, I heard pastors teach things against him. And they made us to believe, where I was, that, he made some huge mistakes. And I was believing those things. I never heard his side of the story. I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. I just embraced it because these are people who I loved and I trusted. So whatever they said, and I respected, so whatever they said, I took it as the truth. But I failed to apply the Solomon principle of listening to both sides of the story. And I'm not alone. I noticed that in the world today, we are that way. Africa is the way it is today because the Western media has portrayed it in a certain way. Now, thank God, the world is opening their eyes. We now have social media and we can now put our own stuff online. But I can tell you that when I came to this part of the world, there were some people who were asking questions like, do you guys live on trees in Africa? Do you guys live in huts? Do you have houses? Do you have clothes? And I could see in these people that they were very genuine. They were not even trying to diss us. They were not trying to be insultive. They were really sincere because they thought we live on trees. They thought black people had tails and all of this stuff. And we were trying to tell them that, look, life is not that way. In fact, some of them see the way we live. We even live better than they do. And they're surprised. They're like, but we thought in Africa there is poverty. Some of them even believe Africa is a country. All because of what they've seen in the media. And when I walked with Pastor, I saw that I cannot just afford to be shallow. I need to always go to the depth of things to really understand it. And even then, I have to be tolerant. I have to be understanding. Patient. I have to be patient. I have to be loving. I have to be kind. I cannot just say because I'm not like the other guy, I'm better than he is. I have to put myself in their shoes. I have to be able to get the full picture of things to be able to come to a good conclusion that would make me a better person and make me to help other people become better, not put them down, not stop them from moving forward in life, or making them to have some psychological traumas by the things I say, but actually lifting them up no matter how, bad the situation might be. So this was really healing for me. I had to repent because I've also done it to other people. I didn't listen to their own side of the story. I believed the first person who came, and I felt because they were so passionate about what they were saying, and because they were so, they were so emotional about it, I tapped into that emotion, and I there was a connection, and I felt like, oh wow, this person is right. I embraced them, and I threw the other person away in my mind. And when the next time I saw the other person, my behavior became different, and that person did nothing wrong to me. But just because he has done something to my friend, who I believed, and I didn't take time to listen to the other side of the story, I became a victim. And that's what the world is suffering today. The world is a very bad place today, or a lot of things have been ruined in the world today because many people don't know the other side of the story. They only listen to one side. That's why many people are having problems. In my country today, many people are having that problem. They are blaming different people for the problems of the nation. But when I talk to people, because I'm close to pastor, I have a different level of information. I'm able to give them the other side of the story. And when I give it to them, they're like, oh, okay, we now understand. And they're now less angry. They are now less, judgmental. They are now less, crazy about the situation. No, they're no longer condemning. They now begin to understand. And now say, you see, if I wasn't here, if I'm not learning these things, I would just be like, like every other person on the street, just judging and just jumping into conclusions. But today I have learned, and I've begun to apply that principle that don't just believe one side of any story. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Love people and try to understand them. Don't just, look at people and write them off because you don't know what they are going through. Take time to understand them. Pastor Sonny talked about how he was a kid and people were beating him up. I understand that because I was really beaten a lot as well when I was in school. When you don't do things the right way, they beat you. No teacher will ask you what you're thinking. No teacher will ask you what you're going through. No teacher would care if you slept at night, at home. Nobody cares. They just want you to do things the way it has been programmed to be done. But we humans don't function that way. One side of the story does not solve the problem. We've been created as unique beings. No two people are equal. No two people are the same. In the way they've been wired to think, in the way they behave, there's a reason why we all have different DNAs. It's not because God cannot make everybody the same, like a carbon, like a printing press. It's easier. But he took time to make everybody unique. And that shows in the way we think, the way we process information, and the way we carry out things. But in the world today, we've not really embraced that thinking, especially in the third world countries. We are still so focused on the one way of doing things. And the moment somebody doesn't do that, we don't care to understand them. Thank God God turned Pastor Sunday's story around. And we now can enjoy the benefits of what he has discovered through his pain. But what if he didn't do that? Imagine how many lives have been ruined because their side of the story was not heard. Because they had no voice. Because there was nobody to speak for them. They have become victims and they've been destroyed. So I really felt sober today and I felt really sorry. And I had to repent and now begin to look at things a little more critically. He is a critical thinker. And he figured it out that, look, I have to think critically if I'm really going to get the best out of life. I was just striving on, I can just run through anything and be fine. And I found that approach to life, it causes more harm than it does good. And if I keep on that way, I will not be able to accomplish much because I would make a lot of things, I would destroy a lot of things, and I wouldn't even be the best myself because I would apply the same thing to my life even unknowingly, and I wouldn't take time to dig deep and become the best I can be. I would just be brushing things off and just believing that everything is on surface, just believing the surface story of stuff and just believe it's fine. But that's not the way Jesus was. He was a tolerant person. He took time to know the both sides of the story. Today we appreciate Solomon, but what he did, many of us are not going to do. And this also brings me to how practical Pastor Sunday is. He's so practical in the way he lives his life that, he tries to apply everything. Now, we've read Solomon's story, but we don't use it. We don't apply the principle. We say he's so wise. He's written books. We read this Bible, but we don't use what he said. If somebody comes to us and says that another person killed somebody, immediately you're dead. I have read of in my country, Nigeria, innocent people were burnt on the street because somebody said they stole. Nobody cared to know whether the guy really stole or not. But they just said, jungle justice, you're a thief. And they burned innocent people alive on the street because they didn't hear their own side of the story. Lives were lost. Not long ago, I read of another case where a man didn't even do anything wrong, but because somebody mistook him, mistaken identity, they didn't give him the opportunity to say his own side of the story, it cost him his life. And when he was dead, that was when they found out that he was the wrong person. So if they had allowed him to speak, if they had listened to his own side of the story, this man would still be alive. So I can see that Pastor is applying the principles of the Bible in his day-to-day life, and that is why he's an effective leader. That's why people love to follow him. That is one of the reasons why I'm here. If he listened to other sides of the story, if he didn't listen to the other side of the story and he listened to just one part, I would not be here because people told him things that were not good about me even before I came here. I was so uncomfortable when I found out that somebody had come to him to say things that were not 100% true. And I was like, oh, maybe he's not going to hate me. Maybe he's not going to love me anymore. Maybe he's going to kick me out. Maybe he's not going to accept me. But when I came, in fact, he didn't even care about it. He even put a positive spin on the whole thing. And I was like, what? How is that even possible? Because I've never seen that happen before. Normally, when somebody goes behind your back to talk about you, they do that because they want to damage you. They want to assassinate your character. But thank God Pastor Sunday knew better, and that is why I was saved. If not, if I was like him, if somebody came behind my back, in somebody's back, to tell me something that bad, I might have written them off. I wouldn't give them the opportunity to walk so closely with me and train them and love them and give them room to grow. I would have written them off. But now he has taught me by example, and he has shown me that you don't just believe one side of the story. He gave me the chance. In fact, thank God I had told him some things before. So he said, he told the person, he said, look, I've heard some of this stuff before, some of it I've not heard, but it's fine. It's the past, let's let it go. And I'm sure that person would have been shocked because in their world, they are not used to people responding that way. They're used to people just hearing a story. Once it's negative, they write the person up, they push the person aside, and then they keep moving because nobody needs drama in their life. But Jesus loved it. Pastor Sonny doesn't care. He's so loving, so embracing, and he says, oh, don't worry about it, just grow. And he gives everybody room to grow. He doesn't force you to do stuff. He doesn't, lord it over you. And that's difficult for somebody in his position that knows as much as he does. Because when you see a lot of people screwing up around you, sometimes I ask myself, how is he so patient? Because I don't know half of what he knows, but I'm even finding it difficult to be patient with some people sometimes. But he's so patient. The laughter you're hearing, that's the way he will be laughing. And then sometimes he will scold you. Other times he will just do like he didn't even see it, but he actually saw what you did. And he just expects that you will fix it yourself because you should know what's right. He has told you some time ago, so he believes you should remember. And you should be able to grow and fix things. So this topic of hearing the both sides of the story, it cuts across the whole board. Nobody is exempt from the top of the society to the least. And we grew up in a system where we don't listen to people, we don't listen to the both sides. We're too lazy to do that. Nobody wants to do the hard work of listening to both sides. Just one is good enough and let's keep it moving. But that is how humanity is deteriorating. And nobody is willing to do the right thing. But thank God that I've heard this and I'm going to begin to apply it. And I hope every one of us is going to apply it as well. Take the case of women, for instance. Women were told, or where I grew up, women don't preach. But Pastor Sonny said, no, why would women do that? I used to ask myself, I'm like, okay, probably women are different in the way they were made, so they shouldn't do some things. But when I came here, I began to see that women can be presidents. Why can't they be pastors in church? Why do you have to discriminate against a sex just because on the outside they look different from you? In spirit, there is no male or female. Why do you have to discriminate against somebody because of their country or because of their color? Some people see me that I'm from Nigeria and they automatically think that I'm a fraudster because they knew a Nigerian somewhere who collected somebody's money online, and they begin to project that same aggression to me. And I'm like, what did I do? My country has 180 million people. Every country has criminals. Why do I have to suffer because I come from Nigeria and then the Nigerian did something that was bad? It makes no sense. When I see people say, saying stuff about a certain tribe or a certain religion, it hurts me because I know that these people are not that way. For instance, the Muslims, some people say, oh wow, these Muslims, they're all bad. But I have seen good Muslims. I've gone to school with Muslims. I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, and I was privileged to be in the same group as Muslim people. And some of them are the kindest people you've ever met. Now, some of them we have the radicals among them, but that's not everybody. You cannot say, well, we're going to like kill all of them because they're all bad. What happens if they say, oh wow, all Nigerians are criminals, and decide to wipe all of us away? Or Pastor was talking about Mexico today. And I didn't even know Mexico was that good, because, you know, everything we see online is that Mexico is a poor country, it's full of drugs and crime, it's full of a lot of delinquents, and nobody is like a no good country. But of course, they're one of the best economies in the world, and they're right next to the US. Yes, some people are running into the US illegally, but from every country, people are moving up and down. So it's not just Mexico, but if you have not been there, you will keep believing that, oh wow, that country is so bad. And I keep hearing that celebrities and even presidents go to Mexico for holidays. And I'm like, why is it that a country that is so bad, people still find time to go there for holidays? It never made sense. But now I understand, because somebody has taken the time to go and experience the country and now bring the truth to us. Or else, I would have been believing the media, because everything I say about Mexico, media and in the movies and wherever, is always bad. They say they're bad guys, they're killing people on the street. They have a lot of drugs and the cartels and all of that, the mafia, they're the ones who are in charge of the nation. But it's not true. One of the richest men in the world is from Mexico, and he's doing fine. He's not a criminal, and he's so wealthy that he's in the top 10 richest people in the world. So it's strange the way we just cut people off, and in nations we just push people aside, and in our minds we just believe one part. But that's not the way God is. He sees us in our totality. He sees us the way we are from both sides. He doesn't just take one side to judge us. Another issue is the gay guys. I don't know for the life of me why they now describe people by their sex. I don't know who came up with that concept. For some reason, I don't know why sex is now a bigger sin than committing murder or lying or stealing. I don't understand it. And the people in the gay community have also embraced it, and they've even tagged themselves with it, because they can see that the world is antagonizing them. So it's now we against them. And when it's you against somebody, it's difficult for you to get to a common ground, because it's like it's all-out war. On the street is war, in the courts is war, in the office place is war, in the government is war, and it's like we must win, and the other people are saying we must win. But at the same time, these people are just people who have a defect in one aspect of their lives. I never knew this till I came close to Pastor Sunday as well. I always used to say, oh, these gay guys are so bad. They should stop them from, from coming close to other people, because, and I was just so judgmental. I was so freaked out by them. I said, anytime I see gay people, I just get uncomfortable. But I said, okay, this is because I know they are gay. What if I didn't know they were gay? Wouldn't I love them? Wouldn't I be so open to talking to them? Because I'm not a person who is not jovial. I like to chat with people. I like to meet new friends. So if I meet this guy and I don't know he's gay, how would I have related to him? But the moment I know somebody's gay, it doesn't matter how nice they look. And what I noticed is these guys actually look nice. They take time to take care of themselves, even better than those who are straight or who are, who date women. And I said, oh, there is something about these guys that make them the way they are. They have a lot of friends. They are very colorful. They are very flamboyant in the way they live their lives. And I said, it's not because of their sexuality they're like this. There is another part of them that is really good. But I don't take time to know somebody else. I just embrace the fact that he's gay, and I say, oh wow, he should go to hell. In fact, God is going to judge him. If you don't repent, you will die and go to hell. But I'm judging. Me that is talking, I'm not perfect. His homosexuality will take him to hell. My lying can take me to hell as well.
And your judgment.
And my judgment as well will take me to hell, because like we heard yesterday, judge not that ye be not judged. And once we're not in somebody's shoes, we find it very easy to judge them and say, how could they do that? Didn't they know the right thing to do? Don't they read their Bibles? Weren't they brought up properly? But not everybody was brought up the same way we were brought up. So I now began to see that, look, I have to be more tolerant. And tolerance is something that is in our that should be our fundamental human nature. It should be engraved in us. Because without tolerance, you would destroy a lot of people. That is what made Hitler to almost wipe away the Jews. He wasn't tolerant. The Jews didn't hurt him. The Jews didn't do anything bad to him, but he just looked at that race and he felt they were parasites, and he said, let's completely cleanse them out. And that is why the Jews suffered the way they suffered. The Holocaust was just because one man was not tolerant to another tribe. He only had one side of the story. The Jews are some of the smartest people in the world. Today, they are inventing things that other countries don't have, and other countries are going to them to borrow it. Wouldn't Hitler have been a better person, or wouldn't Germany have been stronger if they had embraced the Jews and used the wisdom they have to even become a better and a stronger country? It would have been of better use. The US is where it is today because of the population of the Jews that are influential. In the movie industry, they are there. In the banking industry, they are there. The Jews are everywhere, and they are so powerful that the economy cannot do without them. So imagine if these guys were completely cleansed because one man was intolerant, not because they were really bad, but because he knew just one side of the story. So this applies to every aspect of our lives. This applies to everything that we do, wherever we go. Sometimes when we see a certain group of people from a certain tribe, we automatically say these guys are bad. For instance, some people say, oh, Igbos are cheats. I grew up in a place where Igbos are so enterprising. In fact, my own neighbor where I live in Nigeria, he came in with just one car. And when I was leaving Nigeria to school, after about 5 years, this man had built a mansion. He had bought brand new cars. He gave out all the old cars to his driver, to his cleaners. He gave it to them for free. He's a very jovial man. So when people started talking bad about the Igbos, I said, why are you talking bad about them? I have lived with one. He's next to me. We share the same fence. I can see how loving, how kind, and how full of life. And how from nothing he just became so explosive. And this is far from his town. This is in the middle belt of Nigeria. People say, oh, the Muslims are the ones killing everybody. But those guys are good. I have lived with them as well, and I saw that they were not killing just a tribe. They were killing, it was some bad guys who came in, who started killing anybody who was not a Muslim. And some Muslims were there saying, don't do it. And those ones who said don't do it, they also suffer. But somebody who doesn't know both sides of the story, who is just at one end, will say, wow, these guys are bad. Let's wash them away. Let's leave them. Let's walk away. But walking away is easy. But if God walked away from all of us, where would we be? If some of the best people in our lives who have influenced us up to where we are walked away, where would we be today? We are where we are because somebody took a chance. Because somebody did not just believe that we are all bad. Nobody is born perfect. We all have to grow into the people that we have become. So if you're going to make the world a better place, if you will be a better person, if you will be a true Christian, you will have to be tolerant and understand both sides of the story. So I keep going on and on giving you examples, but I just loved today's topic and I have repented from listening to just one side. And because of today's topic, when I hear something, I take time to do personal research. I have Google. All I have to do is type in the words, and 5 minutes, I will know the other side of the story. If it's about somebody who I know, I can call them up if I'm so concerned and if I have the time. Or else, I just brush it aside and move on with my life. There is too much to do for me to just be taking somebody's side of the story and writing a certain person off just because I think they've done something wrong. So we must embrace everybody. We must love everybody. We must make sure that we're tolerant and we know their own side. Let's take time to understand people. Let's not just believe that we know everything just because we are better, in quote, than they are, or we're in a better place than they are. Some people write off others because they are poor. Nobody wants to talk to them. Nobody wants to be friends with them. Pastor Sunday cited his own example, and it's a typical thing. There is classism in almost every society. You write off somebody who is not in your class. You write off somebody who doesn't have as much as you do. But they did not ask to be that way. They did not ask to be poor. Nobody wants to be born into a poor family. Nobody wants to be born without. Nobody wants to be born in a family where they don't have clothes, they don't have shoes. Nobody wants to be born a Muslim. Nobody wants to be born a Hindu. These people didn't have a choice. They don't have the kind of information that you have. That is why they are different from you. Just like Pastor Sunday is different from every one of us because he has a little more information or a lot more information than we do. That is why he's where he is and we are where we are. Now that we're learning, we're stepping up in our knowledge and we can become different. So tomorrow when you go to the street and somebody's misbehaving, you don't begin to beat them down. You remember that a few weeks ago you were different, but because somebody has brought the truth to you, you now understand better and you can now do better. So that is something that I feel we should really pay attention to. This topic is so important. Never believe just one side of any story till you hear the other. If you cannot hear the other, keep an open mind. It's not an easy thing to do because it's easier to just jump into conclusions and say, oh wow, this is the situation. But it takes discipline. It takes the mind of Christ. It takes genuine love and understanding to really put yourself in someone else's shoes even before you hear their side of the story. And even after you hear it, even when they are wrong, don't just write them off. You're not perfect. Jesus loved us even while we were still sinners. He didn't love us when we repented. It was while we were sinners, he loved us. He gave us time. Imagine the mistakes you made. He's God. He's perfect. Many of us say perfectionist, and that makes us not to tolerate other people. But God is really perfect. Many of us who are perfectionists still have other weaknesses in other aspects of our lives. And we find it difficult to tolerate other people. But God is so perfect and he still embraces you. He calls you his child. He loves you unconditionally. Every single day when you wake up, he protects you, he keeps you, he guards you, and he makes you to feel like you're his only child. He never neglects you. He said, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. It's not because you're perfect. He has given you his word and his spirit. He gave you Jesus even before you were born, even before you had the chance to repent. It's not because of anything you did. It's because of his own goodness. So we must learn to be unconditionally as loving as Jesus, because we have not died for anyone yet. He has given a lot more than we have, but still we feel we are in a place to act as gods sometimes because we're not in the shoes of, some other people who will feel like they're less than us. That is not what Christ would do. So I'm really blessed by today's topic, and I feel we too, all those listening to would have gotten one thing or the other. I read some of the comments, and I'm really feeling that, we really got some deliverance this morning.
Well, there is the other side of that story that I didn't talk much about this morning, but the truth is that when we hear one side of the story and believe it and follow it, we're actually at a loss. We are part of the people that lose. We lose. Just like you had something about me, and because how many years did it take you before you began to come? You would have gained so much if you had come before. Yeah, and so the same thing. When we are saying that black people cannot bring anything good, then there is nothing you could learn from them, and all the blessings that they could have given you, you will not be able to take, to use them, to take advantage of them. So when we believe one side of the story, we actually lose out on the other side. It's not just that we deprive the other side, the other people and the other group or the other side, but we also lose out on the blessing that the other side can give us as well.
Yeah, that's true. We've really lost out on a lot of great things because we wrote people off. And imagine, I was telling Pastor just before we started, I said, I wonder what his teachers who were beating him up will be saying if they can see him today. These teachers never thought he could become anything. They called him a dullard. They said he was no good. And I was saying, why do people always feel the need to tell somebody how bad they are till that person begins to believe it themselves? What do you gain by putting other people down? A wise man said, you never go anywhere in life by pushing others down. You need people to be standing to help lift you up. But when you think you need to step over people, you never really go far in life. And I also discovered that if I keep doing what I was doing before, like Pastor said, I will miss out on a lot of things. There are a lot of great people, a lot of talented people, a lot of loving people, a lot of kind people, a lot of generous people that I would miss out on being friends with, on benefiting from, on interacting with, from exchanging ideas with, because I've already written them off in my mind because of a single thing they did wrong. So imagine how much you would have gained if probably some of the people who you've written off because you had just one side of their story were your friends. They have things to offer. Every single person you meet has something to offer you, no matter how poor they are in what. And people are not, how do we really make poverty? That's something that I also, love this morning. Pastor said many people are rich in cash, but very poor in character. And they call many poor people jerks in the world today. They say they are no good people because they are cutthroat, they are not tolerant. And we claim these rich people are the best and want to be like them, but in their value system, they are poor. In their disciplines, they are poor. Money does not make a person rich. In fact, I've noticed that some of the nicest people you will ever meet in the world are people who don't have extravagant wealth, are poor people, like normal people on the street. that's another thing I learned from Pastor. He likes to listen to normal people. He talks to anybody and he asks them the strangest questions, things that I think he should know the answer to. He would just meet like the security man and start having a serious conversation with the person and asking them questions. And as they answer, you can see how happy he is to learn from them. And in my mind, I'm like, but he already knows this thing. Like, I feel like he should already, but he's giving them acceptance. He's giving them love. The way he interacts with his drivers, people who work for him, you almost feel like they're the same people, you know, you feel like they're on the same level, but it's all about acceptance and making the average guy, you know, hearing his own side, understanding his own perspective, and, you know, identifying with who he is. But many of us don't do that. Once we get past the same level, everybody who is on that level and below, we write them off. And we just believe that, you know, we are done, you know, I'm moving on in life and I'm just going to get, you know, to doing the right thing and to going to higher heights and greater mountains, some, you know, sub-mountain things and going higher, flying high. But that's not what Jesus was. He was the highest guy, but he was with the lowest of people. He was with the least of people. But we are not willing to do that, you know. Imagine if Mary Magdalene, he wrote him off and said, this woman is a demon. Many of us in our churches today, we would not allow somebody like Mary Magdalene to come close to the front of the church. Not even the pastor. The pastor is way too far. We wouldn't even let such a person come close to the front of the church because we feel that this person is demon possessed. Even after the person has been delivered, we will still keep them for a good number of years, far away from being in any leadership position or close to any pastor, because we feel these people have been infected with some demon and they will come and they will possess everybody. But light cannot be put out by darkness. We are light. We should challenge darkness. We should embrace darkness because light, you know, the darkness cannot comprehend it. But in our own world, we tend to run from darkness and we are light. We tend to make people feel like your darkness is so bad, stay in your darkness. We are going to be here with our light, having fun. But why do you have the light if you can't take it to those in darkness? Why don't you go to them and try to find out why they are the way they are? There's nobody who I've met who doesn't want to be great. There's nobody who doesn't want to be happy. There's nobody who doesn't want to be rich. What you have, there are several people who envy and want to be like you. So why don't you go to people who don't have that and try to find out why they are the way they are and try to give them the knowledge that you have? Like Pastor Sunday is doing. He could keep all this stuff to himself and leave us in our ignorance, and we'll keep fighting each other in the church and believing that we're all right. We'll keep judging and listening to one side of the story, and we'll feel like, oh wow, that's the way the world functions and such is life. But he has taken time out to share these truths with us, to share his own life story with us, to, you know, just break things down and make us to understand the step-by-step principle of how to get to, you know, a very, to our destinies, to a very formidable place in the world. He doesn't have to do it, but he's giving us these things because of this principle of understanding other people. And I found that he tried to understand me when I met him. I was ignorant, and even in my ignorance, he listened to me and he allowed me to express myself. And then he now began to give me light, and he began to give me understanding. He didn't just write me off and say, oh, all these religious people, don't worry about them, make them go, Joe, like we say in Nigeria. But he did do that. He embraced me. He taught me. He made me to understand things. And that is why I can say the things I'm saying today. So we must always listen to the other side of every story and not just abandon people and leave them where we met them just because we think we are better than they are. Because I found that we do that a lot in Africa. We need to get out of this. In the church, we need to get out of just listening to one side of the story. As leaders, we need to get out of it. And I noticed an average man on the street in my country or in most of our countries, they just believe one side. And because of that thing, they lose out. In fact, they are losing and they don't even realize it. They are going through pain, they are going through suffering, and just a little knowledge would make all the difference. Just listening, just 1 minute or 5 minutes to the other person, to the other side, would completely eradicate every pain. But people don't want to do that because we've been wired wrongly. We've been taught wrongly. But now, I know the truth and I've been set free. I've repented, and those people who have just, written off because I had just one side, I would have to, repent when next I see them. I will have to embrace them. I will have to say, how are you? And really pay attention to what they are going through and understand them and, be empathic and be sympathetic to their situation and see how I can help. I have to be willing to share this message with as many people as I can and not feel like I am different now, I'm better, so I am greater than everybody else. No, I must be humble, just like Pastor is showing us, just like Jesus showed us, just like all through the Bible, it has been shown to us. Imagine if God was just judging us based on one thing that we did, the way we judge many people in our lives. We will not be alive. I know I will not be alive. That's for sure. That's like, it's a given. Pure ED. I would not be alive if God was to judge me based on the bad actions that I've taken or the wrong things I have done. So if we don't expect God to judge us based on just one wrong thing we've done, let us not do the same thing to other people. God sees in us the greatness He has put. He sees in us the God, His nature that He has put in us. And that's what He really sees most of the time. And He believes the other side, even when we act differently. Many of us listen to the devil more than we listen to God. He doesn't wipe us away. He keeps us, He protects us, and He guides us, carefully to the truth. I have also found that if I was not seeing things the way Pastor was seeing it, I would have destroyed myself, because many of us tend to believe what we think about ourselves more than what we think of God or what God thinks of us. And that makes us to understand both sides of the story as well. Many of us, we don't see things from the way God has put it in our lives. We don't see things from God's perspective. We believe man's perspective, and that is one side of the story. Pastor Sunday suffered because he believed what people were telling him. But the moment he could see himself the way God saw him, the moment he began to understand the other side of the story, he became whole. He became healed. But many of us, we don't believe what God says about us. We forget that part and we just hold on to the other negative part. And then that's what we run with the rest of our lives, and it makes us to be underperforming as Christians, underperforming as human beings. And it just makes us to be failures and just, frustrated and unhappy. I have been unhappy several times, not because, somebody did something wrong, but just because I felt something, I was disappointing myself. But God doesn't see me that way. That is one side of the story. Even in my own life, I'm fighting myself because I'm finding it difficult to embrace the other side of the story that God has given to me in His Word. So imagine what your life would be like if every single thing you do, you see it from God's perspective. If everybody you meet, you relate with them like you've seen God. You relate with them like you understand what they're going through, no matter how bad they may look. Somebody once, there was a post on Pastor's page, guy had tattoos all over his face and all over his body. And there was a question that was asked. They said, if this guy was to come to your church, would you embrace him? Would you give him a hug? And many people, church people, Christians, sanctified, Holy Spirit filled, were saying there is no way I'm going to embrace this guy. I cannot trust him. But you don't understand his own side of the story. The fact that he has tattoos on him does not mean that he's no longer a child of God. It doesn't mean that God, the fact that he's still alive, he has not gone to hell. He still has a chance. In fact, he can become a great evangelist, even more effective than you, who has been sitting in the pews for decades. So people were saying, oh wow, I'll have to verify if he has really changed before I hug him. There were a lot of answers, but most of the answers that came in, they're saying, no, this guy is bad just because he has tattoos on his face. But nobody knows why he has those tattoos. Nobody ever went to ask him that, hi, how are you doing? Why are you this way? Just because physically he looks, different from what we're used to, we just write him off. But these are the guys that Jesus wants us to actually reach out to. We always like to go after the normal people, the guys who are well dressed, who are looking good. Nobody wants to go to the bad guys. Nobody wants to find out their own side of the story. And that's why Christianity is not where it should be, because we've already chosen the people in our minds who we want to talk to. We've already chosen the people who we think deserve Jesus. We've already chosen in our minds the people who we think deserve our attention. And then the rest of the other people, we just walk past them like they're not even there. Imagine if the beggars on your street, you take time to tell them about Jesus and share the love of God with them. What do you think will happen? You might not have money. Peter said, silver and gold I have none, but what I have I give unto you. He gave them time. He gave them his attention. He gave them the Jesus he carried, even when he didn't have money. Many of us are not willing to spend time with people. We're not willing to spend our knowledge. We're not willing to extend our, to share our knowledge with people. You might not have money, but all some people need is just your company. All some people need is just some understanding. Some people in their hearts are crying, who would talk to me? Who would just take time to ask me how I'm doing? Who would care about my side of the story? You see some people not looking very well, and in your mind you automatically write them off that this is a no good person. This person is bad. This person does not deserve anything good in life, or this person has made bad decisions. That's why they're where they are. But in their mind, you don't know if this person didn't have a chance to know what you know. You don't know if this person has tried but failed because of inadequate knowledge. But because you just see them from the outside and they don't look like the people who you want to relate with, you write them off. But that's not what Christianity is about. That's not what God has done to us. So I found that understanding the other side of the story is the best way to live life. There was a movie I watched once, and I saw that in that movie, I think they were trying to depict the fact that there was going to be a world war if the other side of the story was not here. Now, this was what happened. A submarine actually shot a missile into, I think it was an American, base or something like that. And immediately, the people who shot that missile did it in such a way that the Russians were to be blamed for it. Meanwhile, the Russians were innocent. They didn't do it. But because some people who wanted to benefit from war went into the middle and shot the missile, they said, we trust that the Americans will not ask questions. But thank God for the president in that movie. He said, we are not going to retaliate till we hear from the other side. Already his generals were putting pressure on him. They said, we cannot let the Russians have their way. We must retaliate. We have a battleship 10 kilometers away from them. We're in range. We can wipe out the whole of their defense system and all of that. And he held on. The pressure on him was so much that he had to push all of them out of the room, like Jesus did with those guys when he went to raise the woman up. He said, all these guys, your generals or whatever, you admirals, get out of the room. And he had to think things through himself. And he said, till I hear from the president, I am not going to fire a single missile. And it turns out that they captured the president as well. That was why they were able to do the thing they did. The president was captured. So if not that he waited till he knew the details from the other side of the world, it would have been all-out nuclear war. That's just a movie. But today when I heard first, I just remembered that I said, if not the wisdom of that man, of listening to the other side, if he had listened to his own generals who were ready for war, they would have started wiping each other out with nuclear weapons, and the enemies who strategically planned that nobody will find out the both sides of the story would have won. Today the same thing happening. Some of us, it's easy for people to make us to hate others. All they have to do is just tell you something that is unpleasant, and you just believe it, and you say, don't mind them. These Christians, or these people, or those people, and you just write them off. And in no time, you have more enemies than friends. But that is not what Jesus did. So we have to be willing to take time to find out at all times the other side of every story.
Now, you mentioned about Nigeria. You said that in our country, that many people just believe, many people in the street just believe whatever news comes to them first. Now, recently, there have been some news in Nigeria about me. And those people who read negative things and believe them, they cancel that person in their lives. They say, oh, wow, I don't want to have anything to do with this person. Or I don't want, this guy, maybe if he's as bad as they are writing, I'm off. Now, you know me, and you know what is getting ready to hit Nigeria. And what do you think? The people who have already believed the stories and have already cancelled themselves, who is going to lose? You have written the book. Some of them will not read this book because of what they have read on the internet. Some of them will not join they will not even know about the Nigeria Transformation Project. So who is at the loop? So that's just an example for you to know who is at a loss. Why? What do you know? What am I planning for Nigeria?
Like Pastor's plans for Nigeria that he has he has outlined is so huge that it has never been seen before. Now, this is a book he has written, and this book is a deliverance tool. What this book will give you, prayer cannot give you. I can tell you that for sure, because I have read this book. I am a Nigerian. I spent most of my life in Nigeria, and the truths in this book, I never heard them anywhere. Some of the leaders that I thought were bad, when I actually read this book and did research, I could see, and read the research in it, I could see for myself that these guys were actually heroes. Some of the people who we worship, I found that they didn't even do as much as some people who we claim are bad guys. In fact, some people I didn't even know them at all. And I'm Nigerian. I didn't know my own country's history. And how am I supposed to be a good citizen if I don't understand the history of my nation? So anybody who just believes what is said on the street, they wouldn't enjoy anything that is good. Take for instance this book. Pastor Sunday has written it. Many people believe that they believe what they've read in the news, and they say, oh, we don't want to hear from him and stuff like that. You will be missing out on a lot of things. What this book will give you, you can't get it yourself. If you can, you would have done it before now. So it's best that you just forget. That's my advice. Forget what you're reading in the news, because what is about to hit Nigeria is something that you've never seen before. You would love to be on board more than off board in this ship. Trust me, when this train leaves the station, you would wish you got on board. What he's planning for Nigeria, I kid you not, I have never seen it before. He has a plan for every local government of the nation. He has a plan for every state. He has a plan for every part of the life of people. He even has a plan for armed robbers. Guys, armed robbers, people who are robbing the nation today. He has a plan of how to rehabilitate them and make them into respectable citizens. And he's not just saying things. I have seen him do it in Ukraine. I have seen people who have gone to prison more than 3 times become respectable people in the society. Some of them have become business heads. Some of them have become government officials. Some of them have become pastors of big churches. Some of them are running rehabilitation centers, and these were people who were in prison, not once, not twice, not thrice. I have seen women who also were in prison. I have seen women who were prostitutes. In fact, that was one of the first things that struck me. So who were prostitutes become respectable women. So don't write him off. If you write him off tomorrow, when things begin to happen, you write off your destiny, because he has set up a platform. The best you can do is to get on board and use that platform to launch yourself to wherever you want to go, because he's somebody who is willing to put everything behind you once he sees that you know where you're going and you're willing to do the hard work. So it's going to be best for you to start by reading this book and preparing for his coming, because God has sent him to Nigeria. When I first met him, he wasn't talking about Nigeria. He wasn't saying anything. In fact, he said that country, in fact, these people, I don't even understand them. And I could see it, because I didn't want to go back to Nigeria myself. But God told me a long time ago that I would go, but I didn't like that idea. In fact, I was casting and binding it. I hated the idea with all of my heart, because when I was leaving Nigeria, I said, this place, I'm not going to live here anymore. But then, when he started talking about Nigeria, I started embracing my destiny. I started saying, okay, God, maybe you were right. Because all of a sudden, I started seeing the great things and the great potential that lies in that country and the massive things that are about to happen. Nigeria, get ready. If you're in Nigeria, no matter where you are, trust me, you will want to come back home. Forget about what you're seeing in the news. Forget about the hardship you're seeing now. Start by reading this book. It will help to align your mind for the new move of God that is about to take place in that nation as soon as Pastor Sunday gets there.
How can they get the book?
That is that. You can get this book on Amazon. Just go on Amazon and type Pastor Sunday's books. You will see the book there. Or go on his blog. You will see it. Or come on his Facebook. Just look through the post. You will see links that will take you to Amazon where you can buy it. Those of you who are in Nigeria, Pastor has promised that in a few months you'll be getting a shipment and this book will be in bookstores. So those of you who are outside Nigeria, get it on Amazon. It's easy. You can read it on your iPads and on your electronic devices. And you can even have it delivered to your houses. Depends on the infrastructure in your country. But those of you in Nigeria, if you can't buy it on Amazon, just hold on and keep your ears to the ground, because very soon this book is going to be hitting Nigeria. And trust me, you want to read this book. Your destiny is tied to this book as long as you're a Nigerian, because the truths in this book will not only set you free, but it will lift you up and turn you into a giant and make our nation the great nation that we know it can become. And the continent at large, those of you who are not Nigerians, trust me, this book has principles that will help you to set your country ablaze for God. Those of you who are Christians in any country, or even Muslim, no matter who you are, just read this book and you will find that the truths in this book can set you and your nation free. You're not going to be blaming your leaders anymore. You will start thinking differently. You will become a proactive person. You will become a revolutionary person in your nation. People wouldn't understand you anymore because the truths in this book will set you on fire and will get you going. Trust me on it. I have read it, and that's why I can talk the way I'm talking right now. Get this book as soon as you can, digest the truth in it, and you will see that your life will become different. So, more on Pastor Sunday, briefly, I noticed that when I began to believe the lies that I heard about him, I wasn't listening to his messages online at time because I didn't really know him then. And in fact, I didn't even get curious. I just heard that, oh, there was something happening in Kyiv. And I didn't even know he was falsely accused. I was just listening to the fact that, oh, this is what happened. And the funniest part is bad news spreads faster than good news. And it's so strange because we never really take time to find out the truth. Whatever anybody says, they just say, oh, I heard that this happened. And we just take that fact. I saw that his messages, I wasn't listening to it. I saw that his books, I wasn't buying. Kyiv, I was not coming because I was in another city at the time. And I just saw that I wasn't really interested. I was like, okay, he did that. Okay, that's fine. That's him. But then, when I got delivered and God had mercy on me, the first day I listened to one of his messages, I cannot forget how I felt. That was one of the only times in my life I ever heard a message and I was crying. I'm not an emotional person. I was shedding tears and I was like, oh God, I cannot imagine that for the past almost more than 5 years of my life, I was missing out on this truth. And the message so resonated with me that I was like, good God, how could I have missed this all along? It was as if I was listening to somebody reading my thoughts. And I was like, is this the same guy that I was hearing all the bad stuff about? And I was like, no, I must be in contact with this guy. I must be in contact with this pastor. And when I came close to him, it became even more. All of a sudden, the things I thought I knew, I was just believing the completely wrong information. I was on the wrong side of everything. And I found that with many people, it's the same thing. What's happening inside people, we have no idea. We believe we do because of what somebody said. But till you actually get on the inside and listen to the other side, you have no idea. What is planning for Nigeria now? Many people don't know. Those who are carrying the news around and who are carrying the propaganda, they don't know they're pushing away their own deliverance because God is sending to transform the nation, not just some people or some church. He's not coming to start a church. As far as I know, he said to God says start a church, I'm not starting. But what I'm going for is national transformation. He's done it in Ukraine, a country that is a lot more hostile than my nation, Nigeria, and to black people. To black people, he's coming to do it to his own people. So forget about what the media is saying. Forget about what the naysayers are saying. What is about to happen? Don't let them block your own destiny. Get on board and enjoy what God has destined for that nation. Because he has said it, that he's going to be employing a lot of people. He's going to be giving a lot of people opportunities to, display their talents, to be their best. All you have to do is just, come with your own project. He said he's going to be sponsoring thousands of projects. So those of you who say I have ideas, but there's nobody to give me the funds or there's nobody to guide me, you just wait because help is on the way. Just get your projects ready. Get your ideas ready, write them down, make sure you have a very good system of how you want things to work, and it would not be a problem. Funds will not be a problem, tutelage will not be a problem, guidance and mentorship will not be a problem because he has already set up a system that is going to take care of all of that. So our nation is about to become an envy to the world, all because of Pastor Sunday. So all of the attacks that are coming online, push all those things aside, they don't matter. Those things just smoke, they're just to distract you. Stay focused on the truth. Stay focused on the principles. Stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on what you're learning. And you will find that at the end of the day, you'll be an explosive person. Bad news does not last for long, because one thing I've noticed with him, like, he's a fighter. What they're doing in Nigeria, that's what he's been dealing with for over 10 years in Ukraine, all his life.
20 years.
People over 20 years. People have come to the church with guns. There was a time that people, every 3 minutes in the nation, on TV, in the newspapers, they write bad news about him. So this is the kind of life he has lived. So it's not new. When some people are panicking, I just look at them and laugh. I say, you guys don't know Pastor Sunday. I have the privilege of knowing him. He's not worried. You don't worry. Forget about that news and just focus on your own life and your own destiny, because it will pay you a lot better if you do that.
Well, do you remember will you tell people the address we have to write to if they want to be a part of the Nigerian Transformation Project, Nigeria, or you don't remember? I will say it.
Yeah, please say.
Okay. If you want to be part of my team that will be going to Nigeria, I'm gathering 2,000 people to go from all over the world to Nigeria with me. I already have about 200 from here, and there will be 2,000 other people from all over the world. The address is, if you are interested or you want to know more about this project, Nigerian Transformation Project, you need to write to Nigeria at SundayAdelajaFoundation.com. Nigeria at SundayAdelajaFoundation.com. Or you could just write to me. My own email is pastor@godembassy.org. So send your inquiries or your interest, and then we'll be able to send you more information about it. But it's true what the brother is saying. Nigeria doesn't even have an idea what is coming. And everybody that will come across Pastor Sunday will only regret about one thing: where was I before now? But when I get to Nigeria, you will be thinking this is not happening. You will be thinking you are dreaming. So, but if you are living abroad and you don't even know yet either to go back to Nigeria or not, better pray about it. Because we are going. And we are going with foreigners. We are going with people from other countries. And we are getting there to change the country. Not just to sit down there and do nothing. No, we are not just going to do religion. We are going to bring about transformation. So anyway, I can't believe it. Our time is already up. It's over 1 hour right now, and I've not even read much of what people have said. Let me quickly read. Shidima is saying a resounding amen to that. Falola Wurola. Okay, Falola Wurola said he is talking the real truth. Nigeria is going to change in a big way. Even other nations will have to get visa to come. Abiko says, amen, amen, in Jesus' name. Faith Kenny say, wow, listening to Pastor Sunday is like someone reading my thoughts. Wow. That's what he said. Abiko said, more grace and God's anointing upon my humble Pastor Sunday. Thank you. Kenneth Amobi said, Pastor, I'm not surprised about the critics and those writing bad things about you. They are already announcing the success. Nothing can stop a moving train. And that is being controlled by the Holy Spirit. Well done, boy. You are loaded like pastor. The government of Nigeria needs men. That is Bernard Etta say, needs men like Pastor Sunday Adelaja as his honorary advisor. Pastor Sunday Adelaja is not a politician. He isn't interested in getting into politics. He's a nation builder. And I think Nigeria needs his wisdom at this time. God bless you, man of God. Thank you. Abiodun Olaluwe say, thanks a lot, sir. Bamishai Victor say, trust me, it will blow your mind what pastor has, the plan of Pastor Sunday. Venantier says, hello. Success says, success Olayemi. God often places our greatest blessings in the areas of our prejudice. I have found this to be true consistently. Yes. Marion say, appreciate, brother. Ernest says, Melinda it's all about, okay, that's about, Olukayo, they said, how do you handle very proud people? Well, you know, just leave them alone. You can keep on looking for those who are not proud. You can't force people to listen to you. Abby said, thanks so much for sharing these great words of admonition, soul lifting and encouraging. By the way, let's go ahead and share this message, please. Let's go ahead and share the message with our friends and our contacts, okay? Please go and share the message. Our time is up today. I'll be there tomorrow morning to see you. God bless you, everybody. Good night. Bye. Just write it on Sky. I'll be writing. Well, I think the notification should be out now. Yes, people are already coming in. Let's see who is going to be the first person today to greet us that we need to appreciate. Well, this is Pastor Sunday Adelaja here. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Mashu Esong is the first person. Then Yetunde as well is next one. Bosse Mega Ranti, blessing. Kenneth Amobi, Tyra Ojimadu, Lola Shoronke, Ruben Ocasio, Prakash Kumar, blessings everyone. Funge Baby Jewel. Bamishaye Victor, blessings. It was powerful this morning. Okay, thank you. Ajala Olafunke Fumi Adewusi, blessings, my sister. Harold Shobanke Emmanuel, Hope Alive, Sam Minister, Vinod, Sami Jeremiah, Irina Pugash, previously, Binkwe Adedokun, Michael Oyekashi, Ak Gossman, Ernest Ebong, Dorothy Oshoku, Kumar Adebayo, Ruth, Unity from Thailand, Damilare from Lagos, Fume has shared it. Oh yeah, we need to begin to share the message. If people don't mind, please, let's begin to share the message as you come in. Please share the message, please. Please begin to, let's go back to our share button and begin to share the message, everyone. If you don't mind, let's go and share the message, please. Yes, it's time to share. Let's invite people to come in and share this message with us. Christian Sayer says we should pray for for deliverance for drug addiction. We break that spirit of drug addiction in Jesus' name. We proclaim full healing, deliverance, and total freedom for that person in Jesus' name. We have a great ministry here that it ministers to drug addicts and alcoholic. You know, there's a special anointing for them in our church here. So we release that same grace upon you, that God will deliver that person in Jesus' name. Okay. Right. Emmanuel from Ghana, Nwuzi, Patrick, Christian, whoever is Christy, Egunye, David Jenkins, long time, nice to see you again. Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah, we had a very interesting topic this morning, and that topic is about decisions. What decisions do, the role of decisions in our lives, and how we could take better decisions and get set free from, you know, taking the wrong decisions. Yeah, so welcome everyone. We are going to have an exciting evening today because I have one of the firebrands in the house. One of my disciples that is really, walking in that grace, in the anointing, the same anointing as Pastor Sunday, and is Pastor Dr. Sufficient here with us today. So let us welcome her. Dr. Sufficient, here you are.
Hello,
How are you
Pastor.
today?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be with you here this evening again.
Yes.
It's always a privilege and a pleasure to do this review with you and with Pastor.
Now, tell us about the program this morning. Did you watch it? I'm sure you did. You don't just watch one time. You watch as many times as possible for it to become part of you,
yes,
right?
Pastor.
And that's the way everybody should do, right? To try to watch as many times as possible.
As much as possible, yeah. Because there is something you taught us, that when you hear something at the first time, you might be thinking you got it, but actually you've not gotten it. So you have to go over it and over it again until it becomes flesh. That's when you know you've gotten it. When you begin to apply it in your life, that's when you've understood it. So until it's in application in your life, you've not understood it. So yeah, as much as possible for it to be part of you, for you to understand everything, you need to go over and over the message.
What will you say about this particular message this morning?
Wow. I think it was quite an eye-opener. Because,
is it the subject itself, the topic?
The topic was awesome as always, but the subject itself was an eye-opener because it's actually a wisdom for daily living, because this is what happens on everyday life. We have to make decisions every day. So even if you cannot say you're not going to make a decision, if you don't want to make a decision, it's a decision you're already making. So decision making is a vital role in our life. It's part of our life. So just like you said in your teaching, we are a totality of the decisions we have made.
Yeah.
So whatever level we are in life now, whoever we are, whatever we are doing now is as a result of the decisions we've made in the past. And wherever we are going to be tomorrow is as the result of the decision we are making today. So it's actually a topic that is for everyone. There is nobody that will say this topic is not for me. It's cutting across every area of life, because in every perspective of your life, you have to make decisions. Even as easy as sleeping, you have to make decisions. When to get up from your bed, you have to make decisions. So at the end of the day, life itself is all about decision making.
And what do you think that really struck down home to you? What is it that really touched you, apart from the general information that we're still going to look at? What is it that really, touched you, you think? The first thing that really, you thought that really struck the bell for you?
Well, what really hits me rightly, it's when you said something about, that we should not say we are going to pray about it. We should do our research, because it's a usual routine we'll do. All right. Instead of doing our due diligence,
we want to pray about it.
So I understood this morning that is actually an act of laziness.
Yeah, it's a way of abjugating responsibilities.
Instead of going to do the work, we want to shift it to God. So we can relax and say, if it fails, but I prayed about this thing and I had peace with it. So it's actually a normal culture in the Christian fold, in quote, is what we do. We see it as something that is right. It's something that we should do. It's not as if praying about it is wrong, but I believe in some way we use it as some sort of excuse for what we are supposed to do, from stopping us from doing our due diligence, to just relax and, say a few words of prayers, and we sit down there and say we are waiting on God to speak to us without doing our due diligence. So that was actually what struck me most about the message this morning. So even though you think you heard something from God, or you got some revelations or some prophecies, I'm going to go into that later, because that is actually a thorn in our flesh, especially for us Africans. We are some set of people that are so prophecy and revelation driven, and I think this message this morning was like, will I say a revealer? Sometimes you'll be living some kind of life and you're not conscious of what you're doing. That's actually what it was to me today.
An exposition.
An exposition. It's like an eye opener. You were doing something, you were living in a particular way. You were not conscious of what you were doing. You were doing it because you've heard it all around you and it's become like a norm.
That's what everybody does.
That's what everybody does, and that is what those who you're looking up to does. You just have to pray about it, and you're talking to someone about something, instead of them to tell you to do a research or go seek for knowledge, they tell you did you pray about it? You have to pray about it. Just pray about it, and it becomes a slogan. Everybody, you have to fast. Wait on the Lord until you get some information. And
I'll be praying with you.
Yeah, I'll be praying along with you. So it's actually what has been going on in the body of Christ. It's what has been going on among people. And some other people just, go ahead and just take the action anyway for those who are not going to pray.
What about the unbelievers? What about the unbelievers who don't even recognize Jesus Christ, most of them, or who don't even read the Bible, or they are not, but they just go ahead and do what they need to do. And that's why they're having more results than we who are waiting. Instead of going to do something to act, we are waiting. And because we are waiting, we are not doing anything. The unbelievers who are not waiting, who are proactive, who are just going to act, they get all the results, all the fruits.
I remember the advice he gave to someone sometime when he said that he's praying and seeking for his purpose. He knows he's called into ministry and everything, but he's waiting on God to get direction on what to do and everything. And your advice to him that day was that whatever is laid in your heart to do, whatever you have burden to do, that will be good for you, good for humanity, and good for God, go ahead and do it. Don't sit down there and say you're waiting for God to tell you something, or for you to get some revelations, or to hear some kind of prophecy, or to hear some kind of hello, I am God. Now get up and do this before you do it. But as long as that thing you want to do is good for you, is good for humanity, is good for God, then what are you waiting for? Go ahead and do it. So it still boils back to the same message you were preaching today. It's time for us to begin to get to work and do what we have to do instead of shifting our responsibilities to others. Why? Because your life is your own, and you do not have a copy, or probably you cannot relive your life. And every day, every second that passes is your life that is going. Every decision you're making, whether it's an informed decision or it's not an informed decision, it is your choice. So whatever you do, even if it's someone that influences you to take that decision, at the end of the day, it is still your decision. You might decide to blame somebody. That blame game you're doing is still a decision. So if the life is yours and you're the one that's going to take the consequences of all your decisions and actions, then it is high time, you begin to make your own decisions yourself. Don't rely on anybody to make your life decisions for you anymore. It's not just about God's self. Most times in the let's say in the church setting, a lot of people adjudicate that responsibility to their pastor. Their pastor has to tell them the choice of who will be their life partner. He has to confirm that without them doing their own thorough diligence. My pastor said it is the will of God, and because of that, they are going into marriage. And a lot of marriage are really crashed like that because of pastors matchmaking people and all that. And we are still making the same mistakes today. So your life is your own. Sink other lives, or you swim, you're the one that will captain your boat. So it is time you have to do what? Get up and take responsibility. Be the person that is in charge of your life. Don't let anyone take your own life decisions for you. Why? Because every decision you take today have its consequences. Every decision you make today, whether you make it or you don't make it, is your choice. They have consequences that are attached to it. So if you want to be successful in life, if you want to move forward in life, you have to learn to take decisions, to take right decisions. And one of the things you said when you were teaching that could help you to take right decisions is not to take decisions under pressure. A lot of times the decisions we take in our life, we take them out of pressure. Several kinds of pressure coming from different forms, either from relatives, from parents, from the church, or from our friends, or from probably people that we look up to, different kinds of things, or from ourselves. Pride, you just want to feel among. Because of that, you take decisions that you're not supposed to take. You take decisions in a haste. But from your teaching this morning, you were really pressing on that button. Don't take any decision under pressure. If the pressure is too much, it's time for you to step back and analyze, because every decision you take under pressure, in 99% of the cases, if not 100% of the cases, you might make mistake. And most of those mistakes you make might be mistakes that will cost you for a lifetime, or mistake that will cost you a fortune, or mistake that will cost you regret and pain. So let your own decisions be your own. It is better you took a decision, you make mistake, then you can take responsibility of that mistake. It is easier to correct the mistakes you made by your own decision than the mistake you made because someone else asked you to, make that decision. You will not learn the lesson. You're still going to be shifting blame, and that is not going to help you. But when you begin to learn how to take decisions, in your own life and of everything you do, you're the person in charge of your life. You're the person that is the leader of your life. Then you tend to learn faster. Even when you fall, you can easily pick yourself up. And one of the things too that really touched me, in what you were saying this morning, Pastor, is that life every day we live is a totality of all the decisions we've made. So anything I am today is a decision of what I made. I'm a doctor today because I decided, it's a result of the decision I took. I'm a doctor today because I decided to go to the medical school. All right, a lot of people are in the wrong professions, or they are doing a wrong career because someone else has asked them to do that, and that is not what they wanted to do, and they are struggling and they are still there. Maybe your parents wanted you to do some specific career, or because of friends, or what you heard other people say, or probably the society have told you this is the career that is selling, and because of that you are not doing your own research. You're not looking internally at yourself, what you are good at, what you will like, but rather you are following what people are saying to make a decision, that is not an informed decision. And at the end of the day, it's causing you so much pain and so much struggles along the line, simply because you did not do your own research, you didn't do your own due diligence before taking that decision. So the message today was more like a pointer to the kind of flaws and to the kind of mistakes and life challenges we can be facing if we do not pause and do our own researches, analyze the things we are being told, seek information, and confirm what we want. You said something today. You said there is nothing wrong with consulting. There is nothing wrong with seeking information. There is nothing wrong with asking questions or asking someone, what do you think about this and all that. But never take your own decision based on just what somebody told you. Never take your own decisions based on what people are doing. And another thing that struck me the most that really occurred in my life is actually doing something because what somebody told you happens to be in line with what you were thinking about. A lot of times we mistaken that to be, we will say, wow, that could be a confirmation of what God is trying to say to me. Can you believe it? I've been thinking about this and all that, and you dabble into it, and at the end of the day, it's a failure. So everything about this message today is about diligence. It's about being meticulous, because life is a serious business. If you do not take your life as a serious business and you want to be careless about your own decisions, you're the one that will live in penury, you're the one that will live in pain, you're the one that will live in regret. It doesn't matter how much you want to, maybe you want to blame other people, at the end of the day, that life is yours. So if you're driving your car anyhow, which is your life, you're the one that will suffer from the battery that is going to happen to that life. So it is high time you sit down and make your own decisions, do your due diligence. I would rather make an informed mistake than make mistake based on what someone else told me that I was not sure of. So you don't allow anybody to make decisions in your life. No successful people do that. It is only mediocres that take their life decisions from other people. So you learn from people, do your researches, you hear people, listen to people, but don't take your own decisions just based on what somebody else said, because that person is different from you. You are different. So you have to do your own research. The people that might be talking to you, they might be talking to you from all sincerity and everything. That is all they know. So you were saying something about don't take decisions based on trust. You can never, all human beings are fallible. So you cannot just carry your whole life and leave it at the hand of another human being like you. So you have to do your own due diligence. You have to do your own research. You have to seek for information, ask questions, ask for counsel. But at the end of the day, let the decision you're taking be your own decision. Let it be an informed decision. So whatever comes out of it, you can take responsibility for it. Whatever comes out of it, if you fall from the wrong decision you took, you can easily get up and, you know, fight to put things back, because this was a mistake you made from an informed, you know, information. It's your own fault. You are the one that decided. So nobody pushed that on you. It was your decision. You decided to do that. You decided to do what you did. You decided to move that way. You decided to study, take that career. So whatever struggle you meet on the way, it's easier for you to, you know, go for it. And the pain is not going to be heavy on you than when probably you know deep down within you that you wanted something else, but because someone else said this, you had to do this. So let's learn to, you know, make our own decisions. Let's learn to do our researches. Let's learn to do our due diligence. We cannot shift our responsibilities to God. That is why He has given us brain. So if God gave us brain so we can give Him rest, we all have to use our brains. We cannot just allow our brains to be dormant and be disturbing God. He already created you with everything you needed, gave us brains, so He can have rest. So why would you not push your responsibilities to Him because you don't want to use your brain? So definitely, and you were explaining that is one of the reasons why in most of those cases, God is silent. You know, and some people will just come to the conclusion, I have peace about it. You know, and that is still not the verification that is the perfect thing you have to do. So on this case, it's better to have facts than to just, you know, have some fictions or some good feelings. So feelings can fail. Feelings can be deceptive. Feelings are not to be trusted. So have your facts, have your researches, do your due diligence, then add prayer if you want to succeed.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Well, you know, you mentioned a little bit about what I said in terms of trusting the wrong people, and that some of the greatest pains we will ever endure in life. And I told some of my stories that, you know, it's because we trust the wrong people. You know, actually, we only have 2 or 3 reasons for most of the pains in our lives. The first, number 1 reason for pains in our life is wrong decisions. And number 2 reason for pain in our lives is trusting the wrong people. Trusting the wrong people. So what will you, what are the, you know, things you want to say concerning that?
Well, basically, I think the issue of trust, you're a very trusting person, Pastor.
Yes, yes.
And I remember asking you how you could still trust people the way you do after everything you've been through and everything. And you were like, you rather told the path of love than to allow the, you know, the few bad people give you a kind of myopic conclusion of all human beings. And it's actually a beautiful thing, but most times we actually take that to the extreme. We become too trusting without doing any analysis. And from your discussion today and everything, and from the pain you're going through because of trust, it's more like an eye-opener. Because most times, everything we do, most times, is based on trust.
Yes.
You know, we trust the person that said this. We trust the person that brought this to us. We trust the person that is asking us to do this thing. We trust the person that gave us this information. This information is reliable. And you ask the person, why do you think this information is reliable? Because so and so said this. You know, that is trust. And it's not a bad thing. But from your analysis you were saying today, don't base your decision on trust. Trust is good, but even as you trust those people, you know, tell them, okay, I trust you, but give me time to do my research. The problem is not about you. I know a lot of people pick offense when you tell them, I want to do research about this thing and everything. So don't you trust me? You were like, explain to the person, it's not about you, it's about me. I've gone through a lot in my life and I've learned my lesson. So it's difficult for me to trust now without facts. And that is how you're going to be saved, because at the end of the day, it's your life. You know, so trusting is good. We cannot really rule out that fact, but don't trust without facts. Do your own due diligence. As you're trusting, also do your research. Because most of the people that are bringing you information, there are some people that actually go out to plan some negative things, but there are some people that really have good intentions. You know, they never meant bad. They have all the good intentions, but because they did not have the totality of the information, you know, you believed they had information they gave you, and when the boat capsized, both you and every other person that was involved is capsizing alongside. But if you have done your due diligence, if you have done your research, maybe you would have seen the loophole and informed this person that was half informed, and you would save yourself and save the person. So at the end of the day, it still boils down to research, and it still boils down to finding out the fact. It still boils down to finding out the truth. It still boils down to doing your own due diligence. You have to. It doesn't matter what anyone is saying, you have to do your due diligence. You can't just trust people like that. So how can you explain a sensitive issue like someone you're going to live with for the rest of your life, and somebody is going to leave that decision in the hands of their parents, in the hands of their pastor? They say, okay, my father said their family is good, and because of that, you're not going to look at the person if the person is compatible. You're not doing any research about the person's life. You're not checking the person's belief or spirituality or mentality. Simply because the family said this family is okay, or we were family friends, you're going to accept that person, make a decision of spending your whole life with this person, forgetting that your parents have lived their life. And they are going to leave, and they will leave, and you're the person that will be stuck with this person. It's not your father, it's not your mom that will live with this person in the house. Some people leave it to their pastor. They will say, my pastor said, the Lord said. And that is it. You're not looking for who this person is and all that. There was a pathetic story like that my dad used to tell us when we were growing up, of a very good Christian lady that was in church like that. And, you know, the lady was in church, serving, fervent, faithful. And this particular brother, who was a cultist, according to them, the illustration and everything, that the lady was like, you know, a kind of, how do I put it? She was disturbing them with her prayer. So they were looking for a way to pull her down. So they sent him to the church. He became a brother in the church, fervent, sowing seed, very rich and all that. And what happened was that he now, because he was so zealous, you know, everybody saw him as a good brother in good standing, sowing seed and all that and everything. He was rich, and he approached the sister, you know, to marry her and everything. And, you know, the pastor gave his blessings. Of course, the brother is a good brother that had been helping in every way, not knowing that his particular mission was to go and put that sister down. And he, without doing her due diligence, not knowing where he's from, you know, his origin or anything, accepted marriage. And she got married to him. When they got to the house, that very night of her wedding, that was the time he broke the news to her that today is the end of your end of going to that church. And she cried back to the pastor and everything, but they've been married. So those are the kind of careless mistakes people make. So she now had the choice of, you know, either running out of the marriage or living in perpetual bondage. So at the end of the day, whoever has given her that confirmation, or she might have had peace because of what they saw on the surface, will not live in that situation we have. So we have to take responsibility of the decisions we make. We have to take responsibilities of whatever or whoever we are believing. It is good to believe people. And another thing that is so common among us today is prophecy. People run about looking for prophecy. You go about looking for prophets that will prophesy to you. You have a business deal. Instead of doing the research, instead of studying about it, you're running to go and meet a prophet, giving the prophet money to go and pray and tell me what the Lord is saying. I really do not understand where that doctrine is coming from, but it's very common today. And a lot of people have lost millions in that kind of process. Prophets will go and pray and tell you the Lord said it to be well, and you do the investment. It's not well. You lose everything. Yet people are not learning. They are still engaging in this kind of act, this kind of common practices that have brought so many, you know, would I say, problem and so much to the life of people. So as much as prophecy is good, some people are just living based on prophecy. How can you go to a church and a prophet tells you at the end of this year you'll be a millionaire, and you shout amen, jumping up? You do not have any job you're doing at the moment. You did not sign any contract that you're working on and you're hoping on getting the money. You know, your salary from where you are working is not even up to a 50,000 naira a month, and yet a prophet is telling you in June that by the end of the year you're going to be a millionaire, and you believe that and you're jumping up and everything. Why? Because we just want to hear what we want to hear. It still boils back to laziness. We don't want to work. We just want the manna to fall down from heaven. We want to reap from where we did not sow. So because of that, these so-called prophets are taking advantage of the laziness of people. They are taking advantage of the carelessness of people. They are taking advantage of people not willing to do their due diligence.
And ignorance as well.
And ignorance. So you make mistake once, twice, thrice, and you're still doing it. Then you're expecting something different to happen. How is that possible? If anything must change in your life, then you must change the things you're doing. You must change the decisions you're making. It is high time you begin to sit down before you take any decision. Let your decision be informed, and let the information you're getting, let it be based on your own researches. Let it be based on your own hard work. Let it be based on the information you have gathered from different people, and you have come to a conclusion that this is what I'm getting, this is what I'm doing. You said something, Pastor.
Trust but verify.
Yeah, trust but verify. You said something. You said, when you have finished all your due diligence and you're still not having clarification, then that is when you should pray.
Yes.
So prayer does not stop hard work. Hard work in line with prayer is what gives you success. See, boils back to the principles you've been preaching all along. So we are not to shift our responsibilities to God, not to talk of our fellow human beings, not your parents. Nobody should be the person that is in charge of making your own life decision. It is your life, and it is a serious business. So the same way you take your career serious, you know, sometimes we are a bit careless about life. We just sleep and wake up. We don't know the seriousness of life, of how just one decision you make can alter the whole circle of your life, of just how one careless mistake you make can cost you a lot. We are not informed about that. So we just get up every morning, you go to work, come back, sleep, you just do what you want to do, forgetting that the decisions, those minor decisions you're taking today, they are what will build up to give you the tomorrow you're going to have. So life is a serious business. It's all about decisions. Let's take it serious. Look at your life as a serious and tedious career you are having, that you have to study so hard to pass. That is how life is serious. That's how life is tough. Take it seriously like that. Don't just take your life easy as it comes and everything. Hey, this person said this, so I have to do it. This is what is in vogue now. This is what is raining now. My friend said that. Are you a balance? No, you cannot be following the crowd and make the right decision. That everybody is doing it does not make it right. That is even good for Mr. A does not mean it's going to be good for you. So you have to do your own due diligence, do your research, then come to the conclusion of the decisions you want to take, what you want to do, how you want to do it, in which time you want to do. And when am I starting? When am I stopping? You said something too that was very beautiful. Never take a decision in a hurry. A lot of times we are in a haste. And why, let's say specifically, let's say in the area of marriage, why a lot of people make mistake in that area is because they are in a hurry. The family pressure is on them. You know, the society and all that, what is expected of them. You know, my biological clock is ticking and all that. I need to get married and everything. And because of that, you hear some lady say, I don't care whoever comes my way now, as long as I'm Mrs. Somebody. Are you serious? Your life is more than marriage. Why would you put a whole destiny just on a platter of gold for marriage? No, it's not worth it, because there are lots of people that are in the marriages that are looking for a way to run out, and you are running in. What's the hurry about? And you said something, you said, sleep over your decisions. Sometimes you don't need to do that thing in haste. There is no haste. Sleep over it. You know, if you need to sleep over it a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, just make sure you rest, sleep over that thing, meditate, think through it, then come up with a very good decision, with your final decision. Make sure that this decision you're taking is from, let's say, the best of the resources you've made. You've worked on this thing.
And the best of the research.
And the best of the research. You've done your best. At that point, if you take a decision at that point and you make mistake, which, you know, it's part of life, you pick up yourself and move on. You are able to correct it easily than when you make an uninformed decision. You take an uninformed decision. And most times, decisions you take informed, hardly you don't go wrong easily like you go wrong when you take an uninformed decision. So don't be in a haste. Life is not a competition. You know, you're not competing with anybody. The only person you should be competing with is yourself. That Mr. B is married does not mean you have to be married today. And not even every married person is fulfilled. So why should that be a criteria for you to destroy your destiny just because you want to get married? You know, and another thing you touched a little bit in your message is about decisions on you know, child bearing and everything. People don't think through it. They just get married. There is no discussion of when do we think, you know, we are going to have our kids. They just get married. When the children comes, they come. You know, and all that. And because of that, they begin to enter into tight corners. Or because the society is expecting that the moment I get married, I should be having kids or getting pregnant so that they don't think I'm barren, especially in the African setting. So the moment a lady gets married in the African setting and all that, 2 months, 3 months, her relatives, the mothers, they start calling. Has anything happened yet? Are you pregnant yet? What is going on? 1 year passes and you're not pregnant. It's like okay, so what is happening? Do you need some prayers? Have you gone for checkup and everything? You don't need to go into start having children when you're not ready for kids. So let nobody push you into that. It has to be when you decide. If you decide to start giving birth 1 year after your marriage, good for you. If it's your decision to, you know, give birth immediately, good for you. If you want to wait for 5 years, let the decision be yours. It shouldn't be what the society is deciding for you. It shouldn't be what your family is deciding for you. It shouldn't be what your in-laws are deciding for you. At the end of the day, it's your life, your kids, your destiny, your purpose. You're the one that is supposed to be at the center of this life God has given you. So because you're the only one that will give account of it at the end of the day. So nobody should be giving you, you know, let's say, should I say, nobody should be the one be the brain behind your decisions. That does not mean you don't learn from people. That does not mean you don't listen to people, but you have to be your own person. You have to be a personality. You have to be an individual. How can a grown woman, a grown man believe in under the decisions of somebody? You don't have a decision you can call yours. Everything about your life was decided for you. That is not life. That is not living. You cannot be fulfilled in that way, knowing that, you know, you cannot take your own decision. At the end of the day, you have to learn to take decisions. You have to learn to take your own risks. You have to learn to evaluate yourself. That is the only way you can take giant steps in life. Because if you don't learn to take your own decisions and you're going to be leaving your decisions in the hands of people, you will not go far. Because even if God gives you a great destiny and shows you a vision to pursue, and you're going to tell people for confirmation and verification, Pastor, you can confirm this, that in most of the cases, most people will never understand what God is telling you to do. Why? Because it's going to be always bigger than you. It's going to be bigger than their understanding. They are not going to see it as something that can be fulfilled. So if you are going to take decisions just based on what people are going to tell you, be ready to be a mediocre. You can never go far in life. because the majority are not always on the side of God. And whatever God is going to tell you to do is going to be intimidating to the majority. So if you're not going to be a man that will stand strong to take decisions, God cannot trust you with even great visions. That's just the truth, because you're going to fail. You will not fulfill it. Why? Because when the struggles comes, you're going to back down and begin to think of what people will say. One thing I've discovered about you, Pastor, I've never heard you any day saying you're going to do something because this person said this. It doesn't matter how much people are shouting, Pastor, do this, Pastor, why not do that, Pastor, why not do that? I said, no, I don't think so. God didn't tell me that, and I don't think so, so I don't think I will be doing that, except God tells me otherwise. This is what God asked me to do. And you're very firm, you're very strong, you're bold. That is actually, I think that is part of the things that have made you who you are. When it comes to your life, you're the person that is in charge. You take your own decision. You make your mistake. If you make mistake, you correct it. That is what life is supposed to be. You know, you were giving examples of the mistake you made when you did your investments and all that. And that is what we are learning from today. And all that. The decision was still yours at the end of the day. Even if maybe somebody brought it up and all that, you were the one that decided it, so you took responsibility for that. That is what our life should be. If you want to be a person that God will trust, if you want to be a shaker and a mover of our generation, if you want to be somebody that will do exploits, then you have to learn to take decisions. If you fail, get up and rise. That is the process of learning. So living in fear that you're not going to take decisions because you think you're not capable is even not going to help matters. You decided not to take a decision. It's another decision. And only failures take such decisions. So it is better to even make a mistake and learn from it than to live your life being spoon-fed all your life like a baby that is still sucking from the mother's breast. Then when are you going to grow up? When are you going to be a woman? When are you going to be a man? When are you going to be matured? You can never be a son in the kingdom of God if you're not going to stand strong and take your own decision. Just like the people of old, like Abraham, that can get up and take his household and begin to listen, moving to the nation God, where God is taking him to, even if he cannot see anything, leaving his family behind. If he was not, are you telling me that nobody was there to discourage Abraham in these days? There were a lot of people that would tell him otherwise, but he chose to take a decision based on an informed information that he has gotten from God. So if you are not going to learn to take your own decisions and you're going to be depending on people, God cannot work with you. It's so not possible, because every time God is telling you to do something, you're still going to run to dig and you're going to run to turn. You know, this is what I'm feeling in my spirit. This is the impression God is giving me, and Tom will tell you, no, I don't think you should do this. You know, you have to do this. I think this is risky. Are you sure you want to do this and all that? You have an impression in your heart. You have what God is laying on in your heart. You know you're capable of doing this thing, but because you are afraid of taking a decision, because you're afraid to take a leap of faith, you settle down back into what other people are telling you. And a lot of dreams have died like that in our world today. So many people that were created to be great, that are mediocres today, simply because they were afraid of taking decisions. So we have to balance it. At the end of the day, it's your life. You have to take the decision. If you decide not to take the decision, your choice. If you decide to take the decision based on just trust and believe in people, your choice. If you decide not to research, not to get an informed decision, is your choice. But you are the one that will enjoy that life, or you're the one that will hate that life. Another thing too that struck me, you were like, whatever life you're having today, whether you like it or you hate it, it's your decision. So if you don't like your life, it simply means there are some decisions you took in the past, you know, that were wrong decisions that is giving you the result of not liking your life today. If you like your life, it means you've made some right decisions. So one thing that is good about, you know, living a life or being capable of taking decisions, if you fail, if you're the kind of person that is good at taking decisions, if you fail, you can always get up, correct your mistake, decide not to do that again. I was listening to Jim Rohn one of those days in one of his motivational speaking and everything. He said he became a millionaire at 31. At 33, he was already bankrupt. He was broke. Why? Because he took some wrong decisions when he was 31, going for all the fancy cars and fancy houses and everything. He took a wrong decision and he was bankrupt and everything. And at that 33, when that struck him and he learned his lesson, he did not pretend to live up to the extent he was living again. He gave up, sold all the cars, and decided to go to rent a smaller apartment and start his life all over again. Corrected the mistake. He took another decision. One decision led him to bankruptcy. The second decision he took led him to who he became today, that everybody is listening to and learning from, simply because he made a mistake from the decision he took. He learned from his mistake, and today he's a renowned person that everybody listens to. He's a motivational speaker that is pulling waves. So what are you waiting for? Take your own decisions. If you fail, no, I failed from my own decisions. You cannot live your entire life depending on the decisions of others, living your life based on what this person said, based on what the other person said, based on what this prophet said, based on what the other pastor said. When are you yourself going to even get your own revelation of God? When are you going to even hear God yourself? When are you going to pay the price to do your own research and discover what you want to do and who you want to become? The truth is that if you're not the kind of person that have learned to take risk, which is still taking decisions, you're not going to be able to be someone renowned in the society. Anyone who is great, read all their histories, are people who have learned to take some risk, and those risks still boils down to decision. So just like Pastor said, that you should evaluate yourself when you're taking decisions and weigh your level of success and your risk level, so you could trust yourself to take more decisions or know where to correct. That is what we should do, because except you want to be a shadow of another human being, but if you want to be you want to be original, then you have to learn to be you. You have to learn to stand out. You have to learn to take the risk. You have to learn to take the decisions. If you fall, rise up. Just like it happened to Pastor and everything. You didn't sit back down there mourning. You got up, you took another decision, and you made a U-turn. And today, you're who we are celebrating. And we are learning from your life today. Sometimes the mistakes might be healthy, but don't live your entire life getting information just on what people said, what people did not say. Do your own research, do your due diligence, then God will lead your